recording the RageSelect podcast, and I was really bringing the value last week because Armored Core 6 was out while we were playing the RageSelect podcast.
That's right.
Now this week, we still have 2 hours. We have 2 hours to record this podcast before Starfield unlocks in our time zone. At which point, I will also be very angry. So I hope everybody just appreciates the value that is being brought to you today on the RageSelect podcast, right here on RageSelect by me, Jeff,
and I'm Mike.
You don't want in on that whole value rant, that whole screed about value.
Well, I'm usually the blue light special.
Oh,
kind
okay.
of guy, but that hasn't existed for a very long time.
That's true. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. Did I tell you about when I visited Kmart like 10 years ago?
No, did you have to fight a pack of dogs or like
kind of?
Were there raiders there?
I had to help my sister drive
gasoline or something,
her car from here to South Carolina.
Okay,
and it took us like 21 hours, and it was the first time I'd like really like gone that far north. Yeah. And we found a Kmart. And I was like, oh, my God, Kmart still exists. And this was 10 years ago, so it might not even exist now.
Yeah.
But when I walked into there, I was like, I'm going to look at the electronics section to see just how outdated this thing is.
Oh, shit.
And it was more outdated than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Because I found, like, accessories to a Game Boy Color.
Nice.
Inside of this Kmart.
Nice.
And again, this was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This wasn't 2005 or something.
Right.
This was 2013.
Yeah.
And they still had Game Boy Color shit.
Boo.
It wasn't even on clearance either.
Full price.
That's crazy as shit. I was like, what the fuck? Where are we? What time machine did I walk into?
I don't know, man.
This is creepy.
I don't know. But what I do know is that we got a whole smorgasbord lined up this week. We got
there was a
bunch
lot of
weird
stuff.
shit. Yeah. So much so that right before we hit the record button, I remembered that I forgot there was like a second Five Nights at Freddy's trailer that came out.
See that.
I thought it was pretty good. Oh, but I tell you what. So this week I was sitting around my house and I was like, what should I watch for the RageSelect podcast to talk about so that I can put something in the thumbnail that's not just a picture of like Steam, because otherwise every show would just be like a picture of Steam.
That's fair.
And so I watched the first episode of Ahsoka, and I fucking hated it. And
oh yeah, I forgot that show had started.
I didn't want to watch anymore because I never watched Rebels, and that show just assumes that you know exactly what happened in Rebels, and I'm like, nah.
I was talking to somebody about that because they were like, Ahsoka was alive in the original trilogy. I'm like, did you not watch The Mandalorian where it totally explained that had happened?
Yeah,
but I watched Rebels for a while. That show was really good. I got like the beginning. It's one of those shows that like. It starts off as like, this is super happy-go-lucky. Right. And then midway, Vader shows up, and he's like, I need you to murder that entire village.
Well, maybe I'll have to do what I did with Avatar and just get like super-duper fucking high so that I can get through the happy-go-lucky, like, for babies part, and then get to the part where shit gets real. Because
it gets dark.
I mostly know Ahsoka from watching that final season of the Clone Wars, and I was like, oh, I like this character. I can't wait to see what she does in her own show. And they're just like, what about this person? And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And they're like, what about this person? And I'm like, I don't know who that is either, okay? So
I highly recommend Rebels to people who haven't seen it, by the way.
Rather than do that, I decided to look at the movies that were out on VOD, and it was like the Dial of Destiny, and it was like the Meg 2, and I was like, yeah. So I ended up watching Elemental last night. The Pixar movie.
I forgot about that one too.
Yeah, which came on to VOD. It was okay. I'm real hit or miss on Pixar these days. Like I wouldn't have watched it unless there was any. It's like this week the Ninja Turtles movie comes out. I can't wait to watch that this weekend.
I'm very excited for that one.
It was fine. It was really interesting because it was a lot like Zootopia, right? Where we picked a thing for our characters to be, and then we're going to use that as an allegory for like different races and classes of people and whatnot. Except it was way more overt. So like there's the romance part of the story. There's the water guy and the fire lady, and they're like, ooh, fire and water, can we be together? And then there's like this other part where the fire lady's dad is like an immigrant who runs a fire store, and he wants his daughter to take over, but does she want to? Does she even want to? Or does she want something more from her life? You know, standard Disney shit.
Yeah.
And then there's a third part of the plot, which is like water keeps coming into Firetown for some reason, and the water guy is like a city inspector, and like so he has to team up with the fire lady because the city administrator is like, if you find out why all this water keeps going into Firetown, then we won't close your dad's store.
That doesn't make any sense.
Whatever. That third plot is so stupid. It's the stupidest thing. Like, it's so contrived, and it's so just like when they find out why the water is coming in, I kept expecting like, what? Because like in Zootopia, when their whole thing is like, why do the animals keep going crazy? And then it turns out this plot to make the predators seem like dangerous, so
some
they get
shady
more
shit.
power.
Yeah.
Right here, it's just like something is broken. That's it.
I was expecting more from that.
Nope, that's it.
I thought somebody broke it or something to take out Firetown.
And they keep fixing it a little bit, and then nobody goes and continues to fix it like all the way, and then they fix it again, and nobody goes to continue to fix it even more, and then it becomes
the bad guys bureaucracy.
It's not even like bureaucracy. It's just like a door. It's like a broken door is like the bad guy.
That's the stupidest thing I've heard all day.
And the other stuff was great. The other stuff I really liked. I liked I thought that the allegory of the different kind of like with the immigrant stuff where you got the young girl, and it's like it's very much the story of
it's clear that third plot was like, we can't have it just be a romance movie, and they're like, fine, door.
Right. Well, it's like they had to be a reason for the two characters to get smashed together. Like, oh, I don't like you, and like, oh, but I do like you. But how are you going to make them have to be together? So they had to invent this dumb plot thing of this door. And I kept expecting it to be like, well, was there like a conspiracy? Is somebody trying to wipe out Firetown, and so they broke this door, and we're going to have to find the evil? It turns out that this one person is nope, just a broken door, Michael. Just a broken door. It's broken. Everybody refuses to fix it. Like the city, like refuses to fix the broken door that will kill all the fire people in Firetown. And I'm just like, what is happening?
That's so strange.
Rest of it, great. Loved it.
Scary door.
Watch it on Disney Plus. Do not pay money for it. Watch it on Disney Plus.
That movie surprised everyone, by the way.
Yeah,
because it was one of those movies that came out, did bad at the box office for. At least for the domestically.
Yep.
And everyone's like, it's a big flop. It has now made so much fucking money.
really.
Yeah, because what happened was that it turns out Korea adores this fucking movie.
I can see why.
As well as a bunch of other like parts of that area that I guess the Chinese area kind of thing.
East Asia
area. I was trying to figure out the best way of saying it without just being like China, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No, like a whole bunch of that like international side watched the shit out of it so much that it is now like one of the highest grossing animated films.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like it's crazy how how it just fucking took off.
They do a really good job with the story of the fire lady's parents are immigrants, and so she's like first generation born in fucking Element Town, and there's like a real push and pull between like sticking to the old ways that we brought from the old country, and like, but do I want to be something else? All that stuff was fine. It's the thing Disney's good at, right? Yeah. Like that, and then having the charming characters where you're just like, oh, I hope the two teenage element people get together in the end. Oh boy.
Smooch.
Yeah.
Sitch.
Yeah, it's not on Disney Plus. It's on VOD. Do not pay for it, but it's if you find yourself if you somehow find yourself with 2 hours where you don't have anything else to play or watch, it was fine. It was a good enough movie to watch.
Oh, that's good.
What about you? Did you watch anything? Play anything? Do anything?
I caught up on the new Futuramas.
Oh, I've heard they're just kind of bad.
They're not very good, or a lot of them aren't very good. There's some stuff that's like fun in them.
Yeah,
like I like the Amazon episode decently enough, but there's some episodes where you're like, that was just bad.
Yeah,
like I don't like how there's a cryptocurrency episode.
Yeah, that's the last one I watched.
I watched that one and I was like, this episode is just too on the nose. Like there's nothing really that clever about what you're doing here.
And I have a specific complaint about that episode.
Go for it.
The bad guy in that episode was like this it was like a character that was very nice, but then also was the evil villain.
Well, she was bipolar,
right?
and the joke.
And what it felt like they wanted to recreate a character that was like the police chief when Fry joins the police, who was that giant woman who was just, she acts like a guy, but she's like
she's just like stoic about stuff. Like she just gets a baby randomly in the middle of the episode.
Yeah. It felt like they kind of wanted to do that like weird dichotomy thing again, but I was just like, this wasn't entertaining. And I think the episode before that where it was just like, oh God, Futurama, whenever you're like Kif Kroker comes onto the screen, it's like fucking red flags start going, and I'm just like, I don't care about Kif and Amy, you guys. Like, I don't care about that.
That was the only one that I was like kind of really liked because it was a continuation of something that happened before.
Yeah,
which I thought was a fun thing to do, and I thought it was heartwarming enough that it worked for me. But again, a lot of the Kif stuff is like the Kif side of that story has never been the interesting part of that relationship.
Yes. It's when Zap Brannigan comes along with Kif.
And those were really fun. That was a really funny part. But then, and then there was another episode that I watched. It was they did a Christmas episode. I think that's the last one they did. That's another, it involves time travel. It was decent enough. And I was like, it's lost its luster quite a bit because it's clear that whoever's writing it at the moment is having a hard time talking about current events.
Right.
Because I'm not going to pretend that the old ones weren't talking about current events because those were just the current events of its time.
Yeah.
But they were really clever about it.
Yeah.
Whereas these are just like, oh, this is just straight up Amazon.
Right.
We're not even going to try to pretend that it's some clever thing. It's like it's going to be a mom product, but it's Momazon. I'm like, that's not. You didn't even try to come up with a fancy name.
Like the first episode was just about Hulu. It was about binge watching
straight
shit
up,
on Hulu.
They just called it Space Hulu or whatever.
Yeah,
Hulu. I think is what they call it.
I don't remember. It was.
It's straight up they don't even try. Like it frustrates me. That first episode is a great example of why it frustrates me, because it's just like we're referencing the real thing. I'm like, but you're not doing it in a fun, clever way that you guys used to, and everybody's voices have clearly aged immensely. Like Bender is John DiMaggio is trying his best to keep up the fun way of talking about Bender, but he's clearly gotten older. Especially Billy West. He's like Billy West is almost as hard. Is a fairly old man now.
Yeah. And
so when he talks as Fry, you're like, Fry now sounds like he's 50. Which is I know he's aged because the show explains that he's been in the future for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So he has to be at least 40 something now or something like that.
Right.
So you're like, okay, I can kind of get past that, but Fry hasn't changed at all as a human being.
Yeah.
So where am I supposed to go with this? I don't know. It frustrates me.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy what I watched, and I just kind of I forgot for a while that they were putting them out because I was just like, I didn't enjoy what I watched. I don't really want to watch anymore. I'd rather watch something weird or different or new.
Yeah, because I've been keeping up with What We Do in the Shadows and Harley Quinn and My Adventures at Superman. So I was like you, I'd forgotten at all that had happened. So I started watching them during my lunchtime because a lot of my shows are only till Friday, so I had nothing to watch throughout the week.
Right, sure.
So I was like, I'll just catch up on Futurama. I'm like, I should have done literally anything else because this is sad.
Well, if you're sad, let me cheer you up, because the first thing that we've got on our list was today we got a 15 minutes Nintendo Direct for Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Did you get a chance to watch this?
No, I meant to, but I didn't get a chance to.
There's a lot.
I saw a lot of people talking about stuff that was revealed though.
Yeah. It was good. It was short, it was sweet. They packed it all together. They talk about how they go to the Flower Kingdom, I guess, and then Bowser shows up and he grabs the Wonder Flower, and then he fuses with the castle and turns into castle flying Bowser mecha thing.
I heard about that and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
And then he pollutes everything. He flies off and pollutes the land, and so everybody's got to go and beat Bowser like you do.
He looked almost like the devil getting him there for a second when he was surrounded by all those fucking piranha pants.
Yeah. So they show that there's a bunch of different areas. There's an ice area, there's an air area, there's a regular area, there's a spooky forest and underground, or a desert area and a water area. And you kind of go, it's standard Mario, right? You're going to go between the different areas. You're going to do enough things. Apparently, those little wonder there's these little purple things on the screen, and those are these seeds that you can get,
the wonder seeds.
Yeah, and you can use those to buy things, or that's what you need. They're like stars that you would use to unlock another course.
Oh, it's those ones that you find throughout the courses to
right
get. Okay.
The open world is kind of weird top down now, so instead of it's
got the Mario 3D World layout.
Overworld.
Yeah, overworld.
Yeah, and then you can just jump back once you've been to a course. You could just jump back in with a menu. They show a lot about this talking flower that we saw in the announcement for it. That just sometimes will give you hints, and sometimes it's just like, "Hey, you're doing great, Mario," or other stuff. I don't know.
That one was sus where he's like, "I wonder what a Goomba tastes like." It's like, oh fuck, what do they taste like?
They showed you've got Mario, Luigi, you got Peach and Daisy, you got Yellow Toad, Blue Toad, Toadette, and then you've got Yoshi's and Nabbit. Everybody but Yoshi's and Nabbit plays exactly the same way. So you just pick who you want, right? The Yoshis and the Nabbits, it's interesting. They don't take damage. They don't take damage when hit, and they have the little Yoshi jump and then do a little run in the air.
Oh, so they're like the easy mode.
Yeah, they're basically you just choose that easy mode character if you want it. But then what's kind of cool is in 2-player, one player can ride on the back of the Yoshi.
Oh, that's fun.
Including other Yoshis. Other Yoshis can ride on the back of other Yoshis. And the Yoshis also have the tongue attack.
That's interesting.
So yeah, they show some different enemies. It looks like they've definitely remixed a lot of the cool stuff in here.
I like creative Mario games. I felt like we weren't getting a lot of them lately.
Yeah, I love this mummy.
Oh wow,
this thing where you just grab it from behind and you can pull it.
Oh, that is horrifying. By the way,
it's like Mama's. Yeah, Lena Headey, she sure is. Yeah, it looks like a lot of really creative stuff and a lot of really creative takes on old enemies, with kind of new stuff. It's just a bunch of returning enemies, and then they showed the power-ups. They showed the elephant that we saw at the end. You can use your trunk to attack. If you go underwater, you can fill the trunk up with water and squirt it at people. Also, you could just completely demolish blocks, and apparently you can go over larger gaps. And apparently, oh no, it's a different one that does that. So I think there's something else about finding.
I know all of them can do it, which is I think people were curious if that was the case.
Oh yeah, they show everybody transforming. It's pretty cool. I'm sure that I'm very worried about what the internet will do with Elephant Peach.
Well, that was the reason
Daisy.
People were worried or were curious if they all do it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
I guess whatever. You know what? Oh my God, I just realized. Do you know what Elephant Peach kind of looks like?
What?
Do you remember Fat Princess?
Oh my God.
That PSN
I could see that
thing.
Yeah.
Because she's got the pink dress and the blonde hair, and then she's big. So
she just doesn't have a trunk.
Yeah.
She was a playable character in that All-Stars game.
God. There's also a bubble attack that you can do.
I'm amazed that hasn't been a thing yet.
Yep. Huh. When you hit enemies with it, it'll just bubble them up and they die immediately.
Oh Jesus!
It kind of hovers towards them. So if you get kind of near them, it'll hit them. You can also kill dry bones and stuff.
Okay,
with that.
That's really useful.
That guys that you normally wouldn't be able to kill, and you can use them as a temporary platform for platforming and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
I love these the Koopas with the roller skates down there. They're pretty great.
God damn, this game is so creative.
And then last, you've got this drill. So it's like a hat that's a drill, and you can use it to You can hit stuff with it. You can go down, like a drill down, and you can also drill under the ground and become invincible.
Oh wow!
And also you can do it on the ceiling. You can get to places that you couldn't get to normally. So,
my God, this game's going to be so great.
Yeah. They also said, Fireflower is going to be a thing. Obviously the regular mushroom and Fireflower are going to be in there. And then they showed that you can store, in Super Mario World or whatever. You can store one extra power up in case you want, and then switch between the two of them at will, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then they show the Wonder Flowers, and basically when you get a Wonder Flower, that was when we saw the world goes completely berserk.
Yeah,
everything goes insane, and I think there's just going to be way more seeds around when you get a Wonder Flower. But then at a certain point you get a wonder, it's like a bulb or something, and then it changes the world back. But it does all kinds of weird crazy goofy shit. You're flying out of the sky. There's bubbles everywhere. The camera shifts. This is one where you're walking on the
Oh my God.
wall like you're playing a top-down game.
That's
like,
so cool.
You float around like a balloon. Just all kinds of weird and creative. I don't know, Michael. I think we. Is this the most creative like 2D side-scrolling Mario game that has ever existed? Because
1,000%.
Okay,
it's like somebody got really, really high on mushrooms,
right,
and was like, "I'm gonna make a Mario game," and then just started drawing weird shit.
Yeah,
and then Miyamoto walked in and was like, "Sold,
make it, do it." Yeah. So
it looks fantastic. Every time I find out new things about it, the more I'm like, "This is the most excited I've been for a Mario game in a long time."
Yeah.
I think since like the first new Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So, you get a Wonder Seed, and then that goes back. These might be like Wonder Coins, the purple things.
I remember them talking about seeds at one point. So,
you use the so you use the seeds to unlock, and then you use the coins for a different thing. Because there are. Let's see. Are they going to go? Yeah, there's this thing called badges. This is crazy.
What the fuck?
This is crazy. Badges. You buy these action badges that give you a modifier. You can equip them to do a modifier. So, like, you've seen the thing where they have the big hat, like, as a parachute. Like, they use their hat as a parachute.
Oh.
That's, like, a thing that you can equip. And there's, like, wall jumps, dolphin kicks, like speed, like floaty high jumps. Like there's all these like gameplay modifiers that you can equip, and then you buy those using the coins. You can also just buy. They said. Like in like Mario 3, you could just buy like one of those power up, like one of the suits to put in your inventory.
That's fucking
type
crazy.
Of thing.
Well, the dolphin kick means you swim faster.
Yes, yes, and go through stuff. Crouching high jump. Yeah, it's all sorts of lunacy.
This is amazing.
Grappling vine.
Oh my god! Like, even Mario has a grappling hook now.
Yep.
All the games get grappling hooks.
Everybody's
now.
got this one. Lets you hit like lava.
Safety bounce. That's fucking cool.
Sensor that like tells you when there's like secrets around to get.
This game's gonna be amazing. Oh my god! I can't wait to play this.
Yeah,
it's fucking hell. It comes out
nuts.
The same day as Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Invisibility. I like this jet run where you cannot stop running. It just makes you run and you cannot stop running. But when you're in the air, you literally get like you can run on the air for a couple of seconds.
That's fucking cool.
It's so nuts. And then you can use all those in conjunction with the suits, and it's like whoa, 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 whoa.
This game's gonna be great. Holy shit.
And there's like badge challenges, and you can play up to 4-player co-op.
That's gonna be chaos more than it's ever been. Holy shit.
They talk about how you can. Well, actually, you don't even know. See, okay, you don't even know because you didn't watch this. Because here's the thing: is okay. Normal 4-player, you play with 4 people. If somebody dies, they're a ghost, and then if you touch their ghost, they come back to life, and you don't lose a life, right?
Yeah.
But they've been inspired by just with everything. It turns out that Mario is Dark Souls now. You can play online, and you will be playing in a map, and these are other people playing their game as like ghosts. And if you die, you can try to like they can't see you, but you can try to touch a ghost, and then it'll bring you back to life, like with the other people playing online. You can create network groups. You could set up like races and stuff like that, and then you get this like heart currency that is shown above your character for how many times you help people out. You can put down standees, and those standees will also bring people back to life if they touch them. But they also bring you back to life if you touch them.
That's fucking crazy.
Like this is, and then you get like this hearts for it. It's fun, and then you can unlock all these different standees of different characters. And it's like what? Stop, Mario! You've already sold me. I'm already buying it. I bought it. It's purchased. It's done.
This is amazing.
So
holy shit, guys, this is fucking crazy. Like because people have been talking shit about these 2D Mario games for a while because they're all the same thing now.
Yeah,
and all that interesting.
Yep.
All they do is they're like, what if you were this animal, but it was like the same fucking thing as another power up,
right?
Because it happens all the time. Because it was like
Cat
Squirrel
Mario.
Suit one they came out with last for the Wii U one, and then there's the cat suit one, and that game forced you to use the cat suit like the whole game.
Yeah.
So it was just like, and that one was the most interesting because at least it was the 3D world kind of thing. Whereas all the 2D ones, people were like, they're just the same. They're not all that interesting. and there's nothing going on in them that make them interesting. Like if you put Wii U Super Mario in front of you, New Super Mario Brothers 2, and New Super Mario Brothers, most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the three until a power-up showed up. And that's what people were worried about for a long time. And now, but Wonder, man, they put so much work into just the animations of Mario.
Yep.
Like, he looks so much more animated than he has in a long time.
Everything looks great. Like, everything is... This is like when, you know... I complain a lot of times about like the quality of graphics on the Switch, but like when Nintendo does it, it always just looks really good. So
they're really good at it. I don't know what sorcery they do every time.
Yeah,
because you'll see somebody be like, "How come this game doesn't do this on Switch?" And you're like, "I generally don't know," because Nintendo seems to have like the secret sauce button that'll make every game look amazing.
Did they just like leave like a thing out of their dev kit that's like 10% sharper, 20% faster? Like
it's a mushroom.
Only we know where to turn that on. So
turns out it's a mushroom you attach to it and it powers it up.
Looks great. Looks absolutely fantastic.
It's an amiibo.
I do feel I do feel bad. I do feel bad that it's coming out the same day as Spider-Man because like I'm not going to end up playing that until Spider-Man's got priority.
Yeah. But every person who only has a Nintendo is very excited.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't, they're putting out one of the weirdest OLED Switch variants. It's just red.
Oh, the red Mario.
It's just the red Mario. It's Mario Red. And it's like, it's just red. It's got 2 red Joy-Cons. And then on the back, it's got Mario. And if you open the little back door, it's got a bunch of coins printed on it. But other than that, it's just red.
and you have to open it to see all this, by the way.
Yeah.
And the little Mario is very small.
Yeah. It's
like you have a better chance buying Mario stickers and sticking it to make it more Mario than you do buying that game.
I bet D-Brand will sell you something like that. Remember that, like, you remember that Zelda stickers, the Zelda wraps that D-Brand sold?
That made them really cool.
Yeah.
Although, like, apparently, like, wasn't one of them, like, it had a language about, like, sue us if you try or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that?
Yep. It was, like, what they wrote in the characters on the back in like runes.
I was like, that was ballsy.
So
ballsy of you guys.
D-Brand is ballsy in general. Like
I kind of love them for that reason.
But yeah, this looks fantastic, man. I'm 100% on board. What a year. What a year for video games 2023 is at this point. Like,
yeah, this is October, guys. This doesn't even hit November. Like, it's gonna be fucking crazy.
Yes. It definitely is.
I don't know what my game of the year is going to be. I generally don't. Like last year, I looked at games that were coming out. I'm like, those games probably aren't going to be that good.
Right.
But this year, I'm like, man, fucking Mortal Kombat 1's coming out.
Yep.
This is coming out.
Yep.
Spider-Man 2's coming out.
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
fuck.
that's it. And that's the fact that, like, you're not even, like, 1, jazzed for Starfield, or 2, planning on playing Baldur's Gate when it comes out on the PlayStation.
No.
So
there's too many fucking games, guys.
Yep.
There's too many things.
And that's not even considering the other stuff. One of the stories that I didn't get in here was today they dropped a second DLC for the Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh my god, they did?
Yes, like today. I'm like, it's a bold move, Cotton, but I don't feel like there's a lot of overlap where people are like, oh no, I can't play this 2-hour DLC because I'm too busy playing Starfield. So
everyone knows Immortals is going to be a game. I can't even finish that joke.
Immortals. What?
I literally looked up.
Oh.
I looked up plot points in it, and I guessed like half of them. It turns out while we were doing our gameplay.
Oh, the Avium, the EA thing?
Yeah.
Somebody in the comments made, I'm going to call them out. Somebody in the comments made a really good comment where they were like, the plot of this seems like a Disney Plus show. And I was like, that is exactly, I get what you're saying, and I agree 100%.
That is so on point. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. Well, from there, we got a lot more to go. Speaking of games that are out or about to, no, speaking of games that aren't coming out anytime soon, that was what I was looking for. We got a couple of like brief mentions of Elder Scrolls 6, which might as well at this point be like Half-Life 3, considering what's going on. But no, there was an interview with
with Mr. Howard.
Pete Hines.
Pete Hines. Okay.
At with the Spanish site Vandal, where they basically asked about the status of Elder Scrolls 6. At first, I was like, when I read this article, at first I was a little mad. I was like, guys, Starfield isn't even out. Could you please not ask about the game that comes after this? There's a whole thing that has to happen. But Pete Hines said that they are in early development, so they're out of like the prototyping phase and they're into actual development of creating it. They're out of the planning phase and into the actual building the game phase. However, he also emphasized that they announced this way too early. They have learned their lesson, and we're not going to mention it again until there's something to actually talk about, because there's nothing worse than a developer that just blows air on your ball hairs. Just ooh, doesn't that feel nice? And you're like, yeah, but what is it? What?
That has happened to us so many times in the past few years.
Yep.
Like alone, like that Captain America Black Panther game.
Yep.
The Black Panther game.
The Iron Man game.
Yep. The Indiana Jones game,
yep.
which again is also Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this, and then there's Wolverine that also got announced, and we've heard nothing about any of those games since they were announced.
I haven't heard
a goddamn thing.
I think the only thing I've heard about Starfield in the last 4 years is just how much money has been poured down that bottomless hole.
Yeah, and Starfield just like they didn't really start talking about it until what, June or something.
Yep.
When they had all those, it was June because they had the direct thing, or not direct. What do they call it? Showcase.
Yeah,
because it was around the time E3 was supposed to happen.
Metroid Prime 4. Haven't seen
nothing.
Hide nor hair.
Nothing about Metroid Prime. I was reading harddrive.net, and one of their articles was like, Nintendo goes fuck it, and they announced Metroid Prime 5 because 4 is not going to happen at this point.
Yeah. Yep. So
4 is supposed to be being developed here somewhere in Austin, and I'm tempted to try to find Retro and break in and just like start shaking somebody, be like, "Where is it?
Show me anything! Show me anything!" Yeah. Also, there was an interview with Todd Howard where he basically said, similarly said that again they should not have announced this.
They had to have done it for like stock reasons, right, or something. I know the theory is they did it to like make Microsoft pay more money for them or something like that.
Maybe it's I love this quote from Todd Howard. I mean, you may like Todd Howard or dislike Tom Howard, but he said when asked about it, he was like, it's like, I don't want to answer, but I want to be polite. Because remember that like that tease for Elder Scrolls 6 was 2018.
It was a very long time ago.
It was 5 years ago.
They hadn't even been bought by Microsoft yet at that point.
They said that it's probably going to be at least 4 or 5 years before you hear anything. And as I said before, I believe that they have learned their lesson. And also, I mean, like, it was confirmed at some point that they're in very, very early phases of Fallout 5.
Yeah, and didn't they announce Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 at the same time?
Yes, they're back to back. They announced Starfield. They had a tease for Starfield, and then we waited a long time to find out anything else for Starfield, right? And then they had the camera swoop down over the kingdom for Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, like, I don't want to poo-poo anybody who is excited for Elder Scrolls. It's just like, have you not? I always wonder if video game fans ever learn. Maybe when you play a lot of video games like I do, you learn skills that people that play like 4 games a year don't learn, where it's like, you know what you need to do is you need to pretend like Elder Scrolls 6. I'm telling you right now, Elder Scrolls 6 is canceled. It's never coming out.
Doesn't exist.
Just put that hope in the grave and put a bunch of dirt on top of it, put a little cross that says hope in your backyard, and then don't answer any questions when people ask you about that weird grave that says hope on it. And then someday you're going to read a news story that says, like, Elder Scrolls 6 is out tomorrow. And you'll be like, what? Oh, no. And then, like, it's going to come Beetlejuicing out of the ground, your hope, and go back into you. But if you just spend the next 5 years being like, ooh, maybe this week. Ooh, maybe this week I'll hear about it. It's like, no, you're making yourself miserable. Like, don't worry about it.
I'm already seeing Spider-Man 2 fans having that issue right now.
Yeah.
They're just constantly like, when are we going to hear something new? Because some of the YouTube channels that do like Spider-Man news, I guess, are like they're running out of things to say.
Right.
And so like they're like, oh, maybe it'll be the cover of Game Informer, and then it wasn't.
Yep.
And they're like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah. I feel like not enough of you motherfuckers are From Software fans, because the Elden Ring subreddit was literally making up their own lore to then comment on that lore when there was like a 3-year period where we just didn't hear anything about Elden Ring, and then they showed us one teaser for the DLC. Have you heard anything else? Absolutely not. 100% no. Not even a little bit.
It's interesting. Just like I don't know. We're in a weird point of gaming where game announcements might be like a decade before a game comes out.
Yep. Well, and also I don't know why you need to be talking about Elder Scrolls 6, because there's a lot of controversy around the Starfield game.
Not even out yet.
My favorite, it's not. Well, it's
early
not
access
out.
will be by the time we talk about this comes out.
Yes, but at the time of recording, it's not out. But you might have been able to purchase a copy from the dumbest man in human history. So last week we got a thing. There's a guy. This is a police report. Darren Harris, a 29-year-old guy. He stole 67 copies of Starfield, and he loaded one up, and he filmed his screen with a cell phone, and he put it on r/gaming leaks, and was like, "Look at this!" And he was like, "I think this game looks great. I think it's wonderful." However, he then sold a bunch of copies.
Oh God!
And like filmed himself putting them in like FedEx shippers and like sending them
to
people. Yes,
doing crime
because these were stolen from a warehouse.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like, oh, somebody broke the street date and GameStop sold it to him. It was like, no, these were stolen from a warehouse.
These fell off a truck,
right? And like the thing is that if you wanted to just show the leaked footage, okay, that's fine.
That's one thing. Yeah.
If you wanted to sell them like super on the DL on the dark web with like, fucking using a some kind of post forwarding system or something.
Well, I'm picturing guys walking down the street like those guys who pull up their trench coats full of watches.
Right.
So you want a copy of Starfield, kid?
Starfield. I got genuine Starfield over here.
For real.
And yeah, he got arrested.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like,
well, I heard this guy did a lot of other crimes at the same time, by the way.
What do you mean?
He also had like 3 guns
in his house. And a bunch of weed.
And one of the guns was reported stolen at one point.
Yep.
And you're like, dude, when you do your crimes, you got to do one at a time so you don't have all the felonies. I'm old. So the thing is that this is one of those things where I'm just like, back in my day when we decided to do a crime, we were sneaky about it. We tried to make sure that nobody knew we were doing it. We didn't live stream it. We didn't live blog about it. We didn't put it on our live journal. We just kept the whole thing off the internet. Yeah.
We just did the crimes, and then we got away with it.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried not talking about your crime? Like, have you tried not putting your crime on Twitter when you do it? What in the world?
It's the reason the only Spider-Man villain I can see existing in real life is Screwball.
Was it? Doesn't the Bat Family have like a weird Screwball variant as well?
I
like
wouldn't be surprised.
Social media.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember what their name was.
Yeah,
because it was like a Nightwing story or something like that.
Something? No, that's something different. Anyway,
that's a different thing.
Yeah. So don't do that. Don't put your crimes online. Keep your crimes secret. Do them at night, and leave your cell phone at home. Boom.
Yeah, don't tell anybody about it right after.
And then keep your fucking mouth shut.
Don't FedEx people stolen goods.
Okay, so now we have an interesting question. Now we have an interesting moral quandary. Okay, so one of the things that happened after this was there was a guy that was looking at the leaks. Our Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, saw this guy talking about it and that he was selling it, and called the cops and informed, like snitched on him and said, this guy is fucking selling this game that's obviously stolen. Like, you guys should probably, are you looking for a guy that stole a bunch of Starfield? Maybe check out this video over here on Reddit. Then the guy who ratted him out, posted on that Reddit that he had called the cops on this guy. And then the moderators of that Reddit banned the guy from the Reddit because, like, why would you want that guy on your Reddit? And then the guy was like, I don't understand. There's ripping off developers and taking people's money. Of course I called the police. And again, it's like, here's another pro tip.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Don't post it on Reddit. What are you doing?
Here's the thing, guys. If you're going to be a snitch, the way you don't get the stitches part of the stitches part is you don't tell anyone you snitched.
That's right.
Because
they would never know.
They wouldn't know. That's not how this works, dude.
No.
You didn't snitch on him and then expected Reddit to be like, you're now in the witness protection Reddit program.
Right.
Because that's not a thing.
Or like you expected the gaming leaks and rumors subreddit to be sympathetic for you taking out a guy that was showing leaks of a really highly anticipated game.
Like, I get where he's coming from, but the problem is that he expected to come back to Reddit and have the Star Wars medal sequence happen where, like, Princess Leia is going to wink at him and he's going to be like, yeah, everyone loves me.
Yeah.
No, that was never going to happen.
Yep.
Even if everyone liked that about it, like we're cool with the fact that you did that, that was still a stupid thing to do because now people aren't going to trust you at all. Of course they would ban you from that subreddit.
Okay, so the theme today, right, is shut up. Just shut up.
Just shut your mouth.
Shut up. Shut your fucking mouth. Like,
if you do crimes, shut your face.
Right.
If you see crimes and you decide to snitch on them, shut your mouth after you tell on them. Or the fourth option, if you see crimes, just shut your mouth as well.
Right. Just mind your own fucking business.
Because somebody's going to come at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a video game guy.
It's owned by a $3 trillion company. I don't feel bad that some dude got 12 copies of it.
He ripped off the developer who got bought for $7 billion.
Right.
What are they going to do?
Oh, no. Todd Howard is like, bad news, everyone. It was only 13 copies of Starfield that were keeping us from shutting down the entire multi-million-dollar company that we run.
Is that fucking Simpsons joke where, like, oh, it turns out one cinder block is missing.
Right.
I guess we can't make the children's hospital.
Right.
It's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. So anyway, that happened. Okay, so shut up criminals, shut up snitches. Now, Michael, I've got a third shut up when it comes to Starfield.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Shut up everybody else. Everybody else, shut up. So one of the things that we found out from one of the leaks of Starfield is that apparently if you hold down the up button and you go for 40 minutes in one direction on a planet in Starfield, eventually you will hit an invisible wall and the game will say you must go back to your ship and reload the next section in order to free explore there, right? So like you are not able to just like hold down a direction and then run as far as forever. You can't go forever.
You can't literally go from your ship and then run in straight circle to get back to your ship.
Right.
Like it's
for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? Okay. So apparently this has made people mad because they're like, Todd Howard said you could explore the entire planet. It's like, right, but did you guys not know how this works? You can explore the entire planet by loading one section at a time and exploring everything in that section. I don't believe that it was ever stated that you were able to seamlessly run around the entire world without ever seeing anything happen.
Yeah, Howard never said to, like, it's another instance where somebody is like, you said this, and they're like, point where I said that. Like anywhere, because like you seem to be thinking that I said something that's not true.
Yes. Also, it's not entirely clear. So yeah, here's the tweet that kicked this off. Somebody, Jeff Threat, Synthwave Lord, said, at Bethesda, when I land on a planet, will I be able to explore that whole entire planet? And Pete Hines replied, yep, if you want. Walk on, brave explorer. Okay, that did not say there will be not a loading screen to be found. Like,
yeah, the issue with that statement is it's so open-ended.
Yeah,
that you guys saying that he said that and him saying I didn't say that are both the exact same bits of proof.
But also, this is my problem with Steam reviews. Is this a negative? Why would you want to keep walking for more than 40 minutes in one direction on a planet that didn't have anything on it? Like, when you play the video game, do you not want to go to, like, the pirate outpost and do that content? Or, like, oh, there's a resource-rich area over here that I want to... Like, do you really want to just walk past miles and miles and miles of endless generated nothing? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. One of the things they said directly about these planets was most of them didn't have anything on them.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you wanted to do that, you would just be walking in the equivalent of just like the outside of Phoenix, Arizona, where
Right.
you're just like, there's nothing here.
Right.
Like, that would have just been it. Like, why? Why would you want to do that?
Been like that Gus Van Sant movie. Jerry? Was that the one where it was Matt Damon and that guy and they were just walking? It was like
I didn't even tell you.
It's about the guys, that's true story of those two guys that got, like, their car broke down in the middle of like a West Texas type of situation, and they just started walking, and then at one point one went crazy and killed the other one, and then that was the end of the story.
Oh.
And,
I didn't know that.
That's terrible. So
I was thinking of that story that were the
Casey Affleck. That was
Casey
the other
Affleck.
person.
I was thinking of that song that they made about those old people who were just walking.
The Proclaimers. I don't
No.
walk 500 miles.
No, it was a song about, like, it was about apparently like an old Texas couple or something went somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they broke down, and then they just started walking, and then they just randomly, like, well, they died because they didn't get anywhere.
Right. You don't just walk to safety.
Yeah, and somebody made a song about it. Also here in Texas, I can't. They were on the first Now album, actually.
What?
Those compilations that
Like
now
pop
that's-
music
now that's what I
now,
call
that?
now
Okay.
that's what I call music.
Oh.
They're on the first one of that.
Oh, okay.
And it was a very popular song. It was like they were a one-hit wonder because of it.
Okay.
But it was a very popular song.
So yeah, this seems like a dumb thing to complain about, and I will say that to your face. I don't think that you should expect a video game. People are like, well, No Man's Sky does it. I'm like, yeah, but nobody wants to play No Man's Sky, so fuck off. Like,
Well, that's not entirely true now.
Yeah.
But they wanted it. The problem is that everybody expects again. Like we were talking about this before we started, which is that. Tell me the last two games Bethesda made. look me dead in the eye and tell me both of those games were exactly what they promised.
Right.
Like, for anything they said. And those are actual games where they did promise a lot of things that didn't happen.
Yep.
Where this one is like they've kept their mouth shut most of the way.
Yep.
So it's like, guys, what did you expect to happen here?
I don't know where you're getting this from.
Yeah.
So, a few more quick stories. One, Microsoft has... oh, so strange. If you go to Microsoft's website, Michael, Microsoft doesn't seem like they're offering the $1 for 15 days of Game Pass deal at this point. It's like,
this keeps happening, and I don't know why people keep reporting on it. Because this happened when Halo Infinite came out.
Yeah.
And they're like, what happened to it? Who knows where it went? Why would they do such... Shut up. We all know why they did it. What are you stupid?
Yeah. There's not really much more to say than that.
Yes. So what are you stupid?
Yeah. What are you stupid? It's a real adversarial podcast this week. We're really yelling at people.
In this instance, I'm more mad at the journalists because they keep doing this, and they're like, why would they do such a thing? You know exactly why they did such a thing.
Yeah.
Stop pretending that this is new.
And then our last Starfield story. This is a really interesting story, Michael. So we found out that AMD... that there was a partnership between AMD and Bethesda for Starfield, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, that means there's not going to be DLSS. It's only going to be XESS." I think I literally spent some time yelling into this microphone about this
when it was announced. You had to explain it to me because I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yes. But what's really interesting was that AMD's gaming head, this guy called Frank Azor, put out the statement where he basically said, quote, if and when Bethesda wants to put DLSS into the game, they have our full support. So like the AMD deal was basically the language of the deal said, you guys have to prioritize AMD FSR upscaling, not XESS, that's Intel, FSR upscaling. And I actually know why now, because of all that tech stuff that I did for Immortals of Avium. It's because the PS5 and the Xbox both have AMD processors, and so FSR upscaling will work on both of those systems.
That would actually be a way better use of their resources.
Right. Whereas on the PC, and it also works, for the record, as I said before, it works on all PCs. It's like a software solution, but but it doesn't work as well as DLSS. DLSS works quite a bit better because it has dedicated hardware that's doing it. But apparently, the way that this deal was structured, they said, if you want to put DLSS, there is nothing stopping Bethesda from putting DLSS into Starfield.
You just have to finish what we asked you first.
Yes, they just want a priority for FSR. So
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. I actually think that's
not uncommon.
I think it's really good attitude for AMD to make, because it doesn't set them up as like
that's the bad guy,
as a direct competitor, right? They're just like, well, we just want to be part of this party too, right?
Look how cool we are.
Which I am hoping that means at some point we will get DLSS, because I really want to run that game at a higher frame rate than it probably runs at by default, and DLSS these days is kind of the key to making stuff run a little bit better. So,
well, here's the fun thing about Bethesda games is somebody's going to mod something that'll make something work. That's the old Bethesda joke, which is like, look, the game's not going to work when it comes out.
Yep.
But it will once the modders are done with it.
Yep. All right, let's see if we can crank through a little bit of Baldur's Gate, and then we're going to take a break. So, first up this week, we got the announcement of patch number 2. Patch number 1 that we talked about last week. It came out. It had a whole bunch of bug fixes. You remember I was telling you about the the mundane chest of mundanity that turns all your armor into cups and forks, and then it makes it really light. Yeah, so they fixed it so that it works in chapter 3. They also fixed it because it was never supposed to turn. It was never supposed to change the weight rating of your armor. It was only supposed to just turn it into a fork. So they fixed it so it works in Chapter 3, but then broke it for the entire game.
That's interesting.
I was like, because I didn't care about anything else. I was like, I don't give a shit about any of the other patches. I just want this to work, because they did do the patch where now Karlach will kneel down to smooch on your halfling characters. So they fixed that. But they got a second patch that is probably will be out by the time this comes out, and there's a bunch of interesting things happen here. One is they're trying to improve the performance in Act 3. Act 3 is a very, very, very dense city full of 1 billion NPCs, so like it doesn't run super well. It was actually really interesting for me because I was running the game without DLSS turned on, and then when I got to Baldur's Gate 3, I was just like, let me try running this with like a little bit of DLSS on, and it was fine. It was choppy. It's an RPG. I don't care.
No.
Like, it's fine if it's choppy. But I do appreciate that they're doing this. They're also looking at expanding some of the cut content that's in the game.
Oh, okay. We'd be able to bang goblins. That was a TikTok I saw where a guy was mad about that.
No. There is a character, though, called Mithara that's like an evil character that you can get. She's like a drow. The subreddit is all about her because she's a fucking hot drow lady.
That's cool. As is tradition.
With his like justice for Mithara. It turns out there's a bug that's keeping like 85% of her dialogue from triggering in the game.
Really?
Like Sven Wiki came out and was like, yeah, it's a really stupid bug and we are fixing it like right now.
That's crazy as shit.
They also talked about how the epilogue to the game, I was telling you this before, was artificially shortened. Like they started with a much longer epilogue to this giant RPG, and then they were like, people don't want long endings. They get tired of them. They get bored. Let's just get it really like, get it like a little pared down. And so now there's been a lot of people who are like, this 100-hour RPG really just breezes through the ending where you're just like, and then they left, and then they hated you, and they died. The end, and you're like, what? Wait, what? So,
Larry, I'm gonna talk to you directly here. I played Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yep.
And Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yep.
And I sat there and I watched all of those cutscenes for the equivalent of like 4 movies.
Just give me a pause button. That's all I care about.
That's all you need.
That's all I care about. I want to be able to pee. Maybe even give me a save so I can save and then come back.
Give me a coupon for popcorn too. That'd be fun.
Yep. So yeah, they're doing some stuff. They're also changing. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I already spoiled myself because I I got to Act 3 and I want to make sure I wasn't doing anything that was going to fuck up my game super hard. So I just started looking shit up because I'm like, I don't care. Like, I've invested too much to then say, nah, bro. And it's like, oh, you got the bad ending. And it's like, what? Oh, wait. When? Like 4 hours ago when you said, nah, bro, to that goblin, that was like the key to the good ending. And I was like, what? Wait, no.
That's the dangers of looking up. Of playing RPGs is because you're like, I want to look up to make sure I don't fuck up. Yeah. But I know for a fact if I do, I'm going to get so many spoilers.
So Karlach's ending in the original is
this a spoiler before we say?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Karlach's ending is going to be expanded upon.
Okay.
People that know what Karlach's ending is will know that there is some room to change it. I personally, because Karlach was my romance character, I looked up, or I found out when looking up other things, what happens to her at the end of the game. And I was fine with it, but like, hey, this is great. My problem, Michael, is that I got to the last fucking boss of the entire game, and I was this close to beating it till it was like, I just need to go to bed, and then when I get up tomorrow, I've got a strategy in mind. I can totally beat this boss. And then I pull up my news, and it's like, they're going to add a whole bunch of shit to the ending. And I'm like, well, then I can't beat it today. I've got to wait. It's like, but Starfield comes out tomorrow, and Armored Core is just looking at me like,
but the Battle of the Bands is tomorrow, Jeff.
Right. So, so you know what? I guess the thing is that if you feel like you're missing out on Baldur's Gate 3, it'd probably be good to wait for a year or more for it to just get patched. Like they're saying, I read another article where they said, they are currently like the number one thing that people want is a way to change your fucking hairstyle and your makeup after the character creator.
Which makes sense.
And that's coming probably in the patch after this one. They're basically trying to just like stabilize, hit bugs, and then expand on some really base stuff. And then they're going to start going in and adding in stuff. I would not be surprised if there was some inventory management stuff that started to come up because that would be nice. And yeah, so but patch 2 is right around the corner. Don't beat the game. Don't beat the game if you're like me. You just hold off. Also, use any of the 87 scrolls that you've been saving up for the entire video game instead of being like, why is it so hard? It's like, I don't know. Use the one that makes you invincible for a billion turns or something.
But I might need it later, Jeff.
There is no later. That's all there is.
There might be a second ending that I have to fight or something.
This is literally the final boss. The game is telling you, like, this is the guy.
I'm sure there's a dude. No,
we also got, I think it was right after the podcast last week, we got the news that Baldur's Gate is going to be coming to the Xbox this year.
Yes.
And that is specifically because Microsoft and Larian made a deal to basically say that the Xbox Series S doesn't have to have split screen support. Still has online support, still has multiplayer support, just doesn't have to have split screen support. I started to understand why that was a problem. What I considered like you can get so far away from your other character that the game will have to run 2 parallel copies of Baldur's Gate 3 at the same time, and that the Series S just isn't up to the task. So
this is a huge deal, by the way, guys, because Microsoft has a very specific mandate for people who make games right now, which is that if you make a game for the Xbox Series X, it has to also have every feature that's in that game work on the Xbox Series S.
Yes. Well, okay, so there's actually part of it in here is them talking about how like there's ray tracing and stuff on the Xbox Series X that's not on the Series S. They call it mode parity. Because technically speaking, from what
parity, okay, I heard parody like as if it's making fun of. It's like fuck you, Series S. Oh, I'm putting a Series S and I fucking suck ass.
No, parity.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Because technically speaking, from the way you were saying it, I thought the same thing, and I've said the same thing with like feature parity. But like technically, like ray tracing is a feature that isn't on the Series S.
I think it's like a different type. I think it means more like big like game. In-game features, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not like lighting stuff and stuff like that.
What seems to be a requirement for the game to appear. Now, the question becomes, where's your quote? The rule in question says developers must, quote, ensure the identical game modes are offered across console types within the generation, unquote, which definitely this violates, right?
Yes, 100%.
Split screen on one, not on the other. It is unclear whether this is a carve-out specifically for Larian in this one game to make sure that it comes out, or whether this is something that has changed about the rules as a whole moving forward. I think it's probably just a carve out for Larian because Baldur's Gate's making bank and Microsoft doesn't want to wait a year to like make it work.
No, this is definitely a carve out because Microsoft will look like idiots if they're like, hey, one of the highest rated games of the year that has broken so many records for PC that no one thought was possible.
Yep.
It's not going to come here because the Series S is stupid.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, well, yeah, you guys have to do this or you look really, really dumb.
True.
Because there were people who got into arguments thinking that this was the Baldur's Gate 3 was PlayStation's, I'm using quoting fingers, PlayStation's answer to Starfield.
Right.
And it was like, this isn't a timed exclusive. They didn't do any. PlayStation didn't do anything to make this happen. Like people were looking at it as the wrong idea that like Xbox are chumps because they're not getting Baldur's Gate 3. Like this looked really bad on Xbox.
Yeah. Yep. And then last before we take a break, so in that same category, Larian was already working on Series S split screen. They are going to continue working on trying to get Series S split screen working, and so it'll probably come at some point in a later patch to the Series S version of Baldur's Gate 3. I find it really weird also that like this monumental RPG, like its release hinges on what I think is like a feature that 0.01% of people playing this game are going to use, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. I never expected Baldur's Gate 3 to be the couch co-op champion of games. Like, that's such a strange one for that to be the thing.
Hey, you know what you could do if you wanted to play couch co-op on the Series S is you could pass the controller to your friend and let them do the next turn with a different character.
It's such a strange thing to do for that. Like, if this was a shooter, I could see why that would be such a big deal.
Yep.
This is Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't think anyone was going to do that.
I didn't think that many people were going to play it like multiplayer because it requires such a time investment. You got to get 100 hours. You're going to get your friends together for 100 hours to play this game.
Well, that one makes more sense because that's the kind of thing that you can plan and to be in different houses.
Sure.
Whereas I don't see. Because we're doing the split screen is more like an actual D&D game where you have to be in the same room, and then come back to do it.
Yep.
Because then it just seems weird. Like, because even the split screen, what does the other character have their own save file? Like, how does that work?
Yes, technically there's like a host character. In fact, that was I think one of the things that they're either putting in the second patch or that they're considering for the later patches is the ability that if you start a game with multiplayer. When the host reloads that game, the other person's character is still there and controllable by the host, and they want to be able to basically like bank them. In fact, I think that's part of the second patch is that Withers, the kind of zombie-looking guy that does like revivals and respecs and stuff, now has a thing that's like a cabinet that you can like put characters into to put them on ice, so you can play the game without, and then like bring them back into the game later on.
That's such a D&D thing to do.
Yeah,
because there were days where because I used to play D&D at work at my old job. We would do D&Ds on Thursday nights. And there were times where I'm like, well, I can't come because I got to do the RageSelect podcast kind of thing. And then, so what would happen is that I would come back. I'm like, so what'd you guys do with me? Like, well, we used you as a shield for a while. And other times, at one point, we just left you at the house and we basically dropped you.
There you go.
So, like, yeah, it's like that's very much a D&D thing. You're like, well, what do you do with the guy who's not there that day?
Yeah.
And that's a fun idea. Like, you just put him away for a second. And then when you come back, you can come back to it.
Yep.
I love that.
And that is that's our first half is Mario, Starfield, Baldur's Gate. We got the big heavy hitters out of the way.
Yep.
When we come back, we've got a lot of we don't actually really have that many news stories left.
Okay.
We mostly have a lot of trailers because some of the Gamescom stuff that we didn't get to last week. So anyway, stick around. We'll see you in just a minute. And it's time for more news. news, even though there was not as much news this week as I would have liked.
I was surprised. At the beginning, we were like, there's a lot of news. And then we plowed through them because some of them just turned into us yelling at you.
Yeah.
And I don't mean yelling at Jeff, I mean yelling at you, the audience.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say that I do think that the RageSelect audience is smart enough that none of you would, one, publicize your crimes, two, publicize you turning people in for crimes, or three, complain about things in a video game that you just made up that should have been in there. So
I feel like three is you're pushing that though.
Three, maybe a little bit,
because I do that too.
Maybe
so
a little bit.
I expect the rest of the RageSelect audience to do it too.
Well, speaking of stuff that you should not complain about because it's literally said that it's not going to be a thing. This week we got an interview with one of the developers on Cyberpunk 2077 that reinforced, we already knew this, but reinforced that Phantom Liberty will be the one and only expansion for Cyberpunk 2077. They said that like even if that DLC sells like crazy, let's see if I can find the direct thing. Yeah, this is the only expansion of the game. It has nothing to do with numbers or how satisfied or not we are with the sales or anything of its kind. It's a technological decision. Apparently, they're moving from the Red engine to Unreal Engine 5 for everything that they're doing moving forward. And it seems like they want to get their developers like beefed up on programming for Unreal Engine 5 as opposed to keeping them having to stretch the Red engine that they used for Cyberpunk 2077 further and further and further to do more and more content. So I don't know. I mean, like this expansion, from everything I've seen, seems like it's so big and it's got so many quality of life things. A lot of people, I think, forget that one of the other things that they were putting out was like an honest to God. I don't know if there's a date for it, but it's somewhere in there. They were putting out an official mod tool for it. So I actually think that's kind of a good decision to be like, make it into the new Vegas, right?
Oh, it's a great decision.
We put out all the quality of life. We got it to a place where we feel like it's living up to the original vision that we had for it. And then here you go. Here are the tools. You guys can fix the rest. We don't give a shit anymore. We're going to go work on The Witcher 4.
Yeah, because when they did The Witcher 3, people made whole campaigns of themselves. And this was one of the first time AI voices kind of started getting used because they started using their own voices or those voices for... or those AI kind of type tools to make full campaigns with Geralt's voice.
Right.
And so, like, which I know nowadays would probably be frowned upon, but at the time, that was really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. So, yep. Do not expect more Cyberpunk after, well, basically next month. It's like 3 weeks away. So
I want to say I'm disappointed, but I'm not. But that's purely not because I hate the game, but because I don't really think they didn't have it in them to really want because if they really wanted to, they could have kept going. And like they said, this is just like they just really don't want to keep using that engine.
Yeah. I see the weird thing for me when it comes out to the end of the day. I know I've spent a lot of time on the RageSelect podcast talking a lot of crap about Cyberpunk 2077, but like at this point, it's just kind of a big question mark. Like I didn't like it when it originally came out, but it's so different even now. It's kind of like. It would be like me saying, I don't like No Man's Sky.
Oh, yeah. And
it's like, well, how would I know? I haven't played it since there's been a fucking billion updates to it. So
yeah, every time there's a new update for No Man's Sky, I'm like, why? Stop. Right? Stop, guys. You've already done what you needed to do.
I didn't even put on the list. There's another one.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, there's a new one that adds some new lore, and then, like, it adds... let me see if I can find the thing for it. It adds these new pirate ships. It adds these new ships that are like, it adds these new ships that are like enemy ships. And one of the things that they do, and this isn't the right article, I was wondering if I could find just like one of the things that said freighter to freighter combat. In the new one, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But the thing that they've added to this new thing with this freighter-to-freighter combat is like the freighters in orbit, the enemy freighters will have like these shield projectors, and they're literally in trenches on the sides of the ship. So you literally have to fly your ship out and then do these trench runs down through enemy freighters like you're in fucking Star Wars to blow up their shield generators. And it's like, okay. Like, I'm pretty close to trying that shit out. It looks pretty cool. Like
every time, like I think about that old meme from when No Way Home was coming out, where it was just like, "This isn't No Way Home. This is No Way Home," and the last image was Kevin Feige breaking through a screen. You're in No Way Home, and I'm expecting that to be with No Man's Sky. We're like, you're in No Man's Sky now.
Yeah.
Because fuck me, they just keep going.
It wasn't.
It's all free. Every single one of these things.
It wasn't as big of an update. This new one, this Echoes update, it wasn't as big. It was only had a couple things. You got like walking sticks and fucking trench runs and some enemy frigates and stuff. But
Cyberpunk though, yeah. Like it's one of those things where it's like if a game company cared enough about that specific series, they would. There's always that one guy who's like, I'll keep working on it.
Yeah.
And in this instance, I think they really got discouraged from the reaction they got.
Yeah.
And I think that I feel that that's the case. That's an opinion. I don't have any proof of it. But if you look at a lot of other games, a lot of those other developers go all in to try to get your praise back.
Sure.
And that they just were like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
I also have to wonder if part of it is the fact that like they didn't really lose money.
No,
like it still made a shitload of money even though it came out and it was busted. Like people didn't take advantage of the refund policy that they put out there after it came out. And so they kind of made, I mean, it was like one of the most highest like pre-ordered games of all time. And then after it came out, the amount of people that refunded it was so low that it's like, well, why? This is to me a bad precedent because it's like they did fix it. I give them credit for that, but they didn't actually really have to because it seemed like nobody was really like that refund policy was in place for like what 6 months or something.
It was there for a while.
Like,
well, they had to fix it because they're not. Well, one, they were getting sued, and two, their entire reputation is what really got hit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really discouraged them.
Maybe. I still think that if they just like gone radio quiet for 3 years and then put out a trailer for The Witcher 4, that fucking every gamer on the planet would have been whoa, no,
100%. The issue was that they kept bringing it back up, and so it kept becoming a news story.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's the main. Again, the lesson is keep your mouth shut.
Right. right. Shut up. Let's see. We got our first look outside of the teaser last week at what Lara Croft looks like in the new Warzone update that they're putting her in. And it's strange to think about this, Michael, but she looks incredibly good. And I think a lot of that is because we just haven't had... She hasn't been in anything for so long. Anything like modern game engines. Like she hasn't been in a modern game engine.
The last game she was made in, or not made in, the last game she was in was a PS4 game.
Well, I think she was in Fortnite as well, but that obviously is like cartoony style,
it has
right?
its very own specific style. Yeah.
But hey, gotta say, Lara looks really good. Like she's wearing her teal tank top. She got the braid. She got the two pistols.
She's pretty close to her most classic look, but she has the white undershirt. Combo, which is still a great look.
It's just weird seeing her face look like a real face.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I know they use the models a lot of times for her past ones.
Yeah,
and they still didn't look exactly like the models.
Yes,
but this is like, oh, that looks like a person I could meet like down the street.
But Michael, you know what? I was looking at this website, the Modern Warfare blog, where they were going over all the stuff that's going to be in the next update, all the new stuff. You get a 21 Savage operator bundle.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either, but I did find something, and I can't believe that this is like a thing. This was really weird to me. So there's a skin that you could get. It's all the way at the bottom of the page. Oh, well, first off, there's the Hip and Hoppin' skin.
I thought that's what you were going to talk about.
Two Run DMC looking bunny characters.
What the fuck?
But no, it's the Tracer Pack Blunt Fingers. Now, Blunt Fingers is like, it is a weed man. He is a man made out of marijuana with fingers that are glowing like a joint. Like,
here's the thing. I have no words.
You guys gotta look up Blunt Fingers, man.
I don't even know. What?
It's like Salad Fingers, his really aggro cousin, Blunt Fingers.
How do you even?
He's like, this is from the official Call of Duty website.
This is a real thing you can buy.
Yeah,
this was made by.
by a company.
By a company.
Yeah.
In a country.
Yeah.
Where the entire. I have both so many things and so many not things to say about this.
Blunt fingers.
That I'm just gonna let it go.
His blunt fingers.
I'm just thinking of fucking.
It's like
oh my god!
It's like Swamp Thing, but he's made entirely of weed, and he's wearing a tactical vest for all of his clips and ammo and
the
grenade
hands,
launchers.
The hands really sells it
with the little
because they're just lit blunts.
The glowing tips of the fingers.
What the?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I mean, we are talking about a game that literally put Nicki Minaj in it last week and already has Snoop Dogg in it, but it's just a little bit more overt than I thought that they would be.
Well, because this is literally, as I was mentioning, the weed is not legal in most of the country still.
Yep.
How is this okay? Like, I understand Snoop Dogg being in it because of the implication,
right?
But this is just. The cation.
This is you just saying it. You're just saying it.
I know writers who use subtext and they're cowards.
Right.
Is what this skin is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Blunt fingers. I love it. I love it so much. And even the copy for it will be blunt. Tracer Pack Blunt Fingers is made for high-level operators, and it joins the store rotation once the fall foliage starts budding in mid-September.
So many fucking
Fender becomes a true ant with his, quote, Blunt Fingers operating skin, while the pot shot sniper rifle and weed eater submachine gun blueprints can cause chronic problems for enemy squads, provided the operator behind the trigger has good reaction time. Otherwise, feel free to let out a few laughs with the Puff and Go Tab vehicle skin. Also included are the homegrown charm, a loading screen, 3 stickers, and a Bud Beast emblem.
Whoever wrote that had a fucking blast.
I'm surprised it doesn't come for a coupon for the fucking Snoop Dogg meal at Jack in the Box. Like,
oh my god. Holy shit.
Anyway, that's pretty good. Go look up Blunt Fingers. You guys will love it. You're gonna love it. You'll love it. In other less crazy Call of Duty news, Call of Duty has started rolling out this new AI tech to basically monitor voice comms for you being bad. But it's actually really interesting. I went and read down through this because they're using this tech. It's called ToxMod.
I remember I wrote an article when they first announced this.
Yeah.
And I read a little bit about it, and if it works, my God, this is gonna. Call of Duty servers might just go silent.
Well, okay, so first off, it should be noted that like this tech can't ban people. It can only flag people to be reviewed and then banned. But what's really interesting about it is that like, okay, so let me read the copy because I don't want to like I don't want to say something. Let's see if I can find exactly where it says.
I think you passed it. Go a little bit higher.
No, here we go. While the N-word is typically considered a vile slur.
Okay, before you go, yes. I did not expect to start like that.
Yes. While the N-word is typically considered a vile slur, many players who identify as black or brown have reclaimed it and use it positively within their communities. If someone says the N-word and clearly offends others in the chat, that will be rated much more severely than what appears to be reclaimed usage that is incorporated naturally into a conversation. So they're using an AI to be like, okay, so like we all know that like some people can sometimes when you say the N-word it's a bad word, but some people will say the N-word and it's not a bad word, and apparently this AI has decided that it knows how to tell the difference between those two usages. And I'm like, oh, you are playing with some live ammunition over here, my friend.
It just makes me think of the episode of the Boondocks,
right,
where the teacher does it.
Yes,
and he's like, Riley says it all the time, and I'm not going to quote him because again, that's the point of the joke,
right?
But also, there's a reason why the joke is that he's not supposed to be saying those things,
right?
Oh my God, we should not. Holy shit! I did not anticipate that being the copy for that. Oh my God!
They also talk about. Okay, this is from a PC Gamer article. Modulate also offers the example of harmful speech towards kids. Quote, for instance, if we detect a prepubescent speaker in a chat, we might rate certain kinds of offenses more severely due to the risk of the to the child. So like, apparently, what, you got to be on your best behavior if a fucking 7-year-old wanders into your Call of Duty chat. You can't say like bone sucker or like
this is a Christian server, Jeff.
Right,
You're not allowed to say the naughty words.
Right. You can't say like cock bandit to an 8-year-old anymore. I thought this was America. I ordered the blood fingers pack, and now I got this 8-year-old saying I can't say fucking donkey tits here in my Call of Duty lobby.
Although this means like every time a woman is on a server, it might trigger in a very funny way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be really interested. I feel like for years, and I want to applaud Activision, because for years and years, Call of Duty is like the most toxic. Well, it's the most commonly toxic,
it's the
like
most
chat
toxic
online.
shooter, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what
mainstream. Actually, that's the word I'm gonna use.
Counter-Strike discords are like these days, but like
that's what I was gonna say. It's the most mainstream, toxic shooter on existence. The way League of Legends is the most mainstream. Toxic, whatever the fuck the name of it was, MOBA.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where that's where I'll preface it.
So and for years, it's like there's been this issue, and every time it's like, well, should we fix it? And people are like, but how? What are you gonna do? And it's like, well, you guys are trying something.
Yeah.
Even though
it's worth a shot.
Last week we had that story about Microsoft putting points on your license whenever you do something stupid.
Oh yeah.
On Xbox Live. So I don't know. They're trying, and maybe it'll be work. Maybe it'll work.
Well, it's the fact that they're going to review them is really what helps.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, there's a lot of problems with tech. Well, it'll flag something, and it's clearly not the thing. Like you could put up like a cookie that looks shaped like a gun. They're like gun,
right?
And that's what's going to happen, kind of thing. It's just metaphorically.
Or you could be like me. You could just come up with new curse words that nobody has heard before.
Flargengens. They're like, what does that mean? Did you fucking find out?
What about boner burglar? Like that, or bone burglar? You're bone burglar. You're burgling my bones.
You got to use old Southern slurs that people don't know anymore.
It would be funny if the Call of Duty community starts looking up like old English slurs, so that like it all becomes like, oh, I bite my thumb at you.
Do you bite my thumb at you, sir?
Do you bite your thumb at me? I bite my thumb, sir.
That's what we need. Romeo and Juliet speak to come back. That's the entire server.
Shakespearean insults.
Shakespearean shit.
Completely. Just what was the thing for the AI that the Destiny community did to flummox the AI? Do you know about that?
Oh no, I don't know about that.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. AI Destiny. People started posting AI Destiny Reddit trick. So everybody it was a thing that's happened before. Yeah. Glorbo. Like in the Destiny subreddit, they started talking about Glorbo, and then eventually they found a website where there was obviously had been scraping the subreddit and had written in an AI generated article about like Destiny 2. What is Glorbo? Not much is known about Glorbo at the moment, but blah 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 blah.
I love that.
And
I
I'm
love
like,
everything about that.
The thing I love about AI as opposed to crypto, Michael, is that we can fuck with these computers.
It's true.
Whereas with crypto, it was just like, give me your money and it's gone. And it was like, well, that's not fun.
My favorite was a Twitter where it was like clearly like some sort of bot.
Yeah.
And it was like it got its attention, and then once it got its attention, he's like, okay, tell me about bees. And then it just started talking about bees all of a sudden because it was pretending to be a person, but the second you did that, you could just get it to tell you like any number of things if you just use the right set of keywords.
Right.
And it was amazing. I love it.
Hey, anybody, do you guys care about Diablo? We're talking about Activision. We might as well talk about Blizzard. Diablo is on sale, Michael. Diablo's on sale.
Not on my Christian server.
Diablo 4 is on sale. It's a real bone burglar over here. It's like 25% off. So you get the Ultimate Edition for $75. You can get the regular edition for $55 as opposed to, remember, this is a $70 game now, so $55. This if you're listening to this on Monday, it's still going on because it's like a Labor Day thing. Goes through Labor Day, so if you're listening to this on Tuesday, sorry, you got burgled. Oh no.
You're just gonna use that in normal conversation now.
I'm gonna I saw one. I was saying to Amanda the other day that I look at Imager all the time, and they've got all these like great memes and funny things, and I always forget them. So I tried to make an effort to memorize one, and it's a picture, and it says, "Oh, I found something new to say when I leave a room," and it's a picture of a product, and it's a bunch of like Ziploc bags, and it says, "Stay fresh." Cheese bags. And so from now on, that's my thing when I leave a room. It's stay fresh cheese bags. So
I love it. I love the internet for doing stupid shit like that.
Hey, here's something that's not fresh. PlayStation Plus is getting a big price increase.
A stupidly high increase.
Really high. So annually, PlayStation Plus Essential for an annual subscription is going from $60 to $80,
which is crazy.
PlayStation Plus Extra is going from $100 to $135, and PlayStation Plus Premium is going from $120 to $160. So that's 20, 35, and 40 respectively. This is happening everywhere, all places.
Yeah.
Michael, I don't know if Sony executive listens to this podcast, but guys, your service is not worth that amount of money.
No.
It's not worth the existing amount of money right now that I'm paying for it. Like,
yeah, that's such a stupidly high increase, guys.
Yeah.
Like I was using their premium one because at the time, because 120, like I was upgraded at like a discount because it was one of those like if you upgrade, it'll discount based on what you had or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And it's a decent enough service, and it's fine if you were like play everything on it.
Yeah.
Kind of, because there's actually a lot of stuff on it. It's just that
it's old,
but a lot of it's older stuff, and some of it's stuff that you're like, okay, if I had time, maybe like the Demon Souls remake kind of thing. But right now, there's not enough on there for me. It's not like Game Passes, which is like there's a shit ton of like and day one stuff too.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like not even like Starfield. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was on there.
There's no day one stuff for the PlayStation Plus Premium, and you're like, and I buy a lot of my games for my PS5 anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and so it really destroys the point of that. And like, there's no reason to pay $160 a year for something like that. That's like a quarter of a console's price.
Well, and it would be different if one, there were enough, like, because the for me the value proposition with Game Pass is if there are 3 games a year that I would have purchased for full price that are on Game Pass, it is now paid for itself, right?
By default.
That's not necessarily the case with PlayStation. Like, they have some stuff that goes like Sea of Stars is on Game Pass and PS Plus, but like for the most part, Sony has made the commitment to cheaping out on this shit and not putting first run games on there. Now, they could make up with that if they were keeping up with the back catalog of PSX and PS2 and PS3 games, but they're not.
No.
Like, they're just not putting as much. They're keep putting PSP games on there. And it's like, guys, nobody liked the PSP. You shut it off for a reason. Like,
and they're not even PSP games that were worth having a PSP for to begin with.
Pursuit Force was worth buying a PSP for, I will say. And they put Pursuit Force 2 on there. They put Killzone Liberation. That was a fun game. They did. There were some good PSP games, and they did put them on there. But they haven't done anything to them. They just put them on the emulator, right? Like,
yeah, there's so many PS2 games and PS1 games that people would love to play.
Yeah.
But you're like, what if you put Chicken Little or whatever? You're like,
right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, so
there's no reason. There's no fucking reason. And their explanation is such a fucking like corporate ass thing.
This price adjustment will enable us to continue bringing high quality games and value added benefits to your PlayStation Plus subscription service.
You fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. Their games go on sale so often that like even the ones that end up getting added to it still don't feel like it's worth doing that for.
Yep.
Like, there's just no reason. Like, like the second I get home, or because I was gonna do it earlier, but I forgot. I'm gonna set it to change down to the normal one, because I don't need to spend $160 to play a bunch of games I don't even look at anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it's pointless. I don't know, it's stupid.
Yep, it is, and it is good to see that that Sony bullshit is still at Sony, because that is some Sony bullshit right
100%
there.
Sony
Where it's like,
bullshit.
you guys already like, has it even been a year since they changed the tiers on PlayStation?
As far as I know, no.
And it was bad when they did that. Yeah. And then they jacked up the price on top of that. It's just
they were all confusing for a while because nobody understood what it meant.
Now, like, on the other hand, if it was $160 a year and I got Spider-Man 2 on day one as part of that subscription, of course that would be worth it.
If you got like free DLCs out of it, kind of thing, you don't get anything.
You get some Fortnite bucks. You get some Fortnite. Yeah,
but you get that with the essentials though too.
Well, that's true.
You don't even get that. Like, premium doesn't have anything that's really that worth it right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what really frustrates me about that.
They announced the PlayStation Plus games for next month.
This was the worst possible time to do this, by the way.
And hey, I like Saints Row, the Saints Row reboot. I liked that game. I had fun playing that game. You can make a hell of a Loretta, the Saints Row reboot, as I have proven. But Saints Row and then Black Desert Online and Generation Zero, and I don't know anybody that played either of those second two.
I don't even know anything about those two.
One of them is a Korean MMO, and the other one is a Swedish multiplayer fight some robots game.
What a terrible fucking time to make that announcement.
Yep.
With that lineup.
Yep.
And like you said, you like Saints Row, but a lot of people did not even look at that game's general direction.
I'll tell you, if you got a PlayStation 5 and you got Saints Row, it's pretty good, because even when the game crashes, it'll load back up really fast because of that SSD.
That's true.
But we were going to record videos for the DLC for Saints Row. It just kept crashing every time we tried to play it. So
what an unfortunate thing. And then, that's even worse with what's happened with the developer.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, what a bad time to make that your announcement.
Yep. So, let's see.
This fucking
The Day Before. You remember that game? The game that literally was supposed to come out in March and delayed until November of this year. Was supposed to have footage that never came out and got thrown off of Steam because they named their game the same thing as like an Asian clock app that has been around on Android for way longer than them.
It's so funny.
So we had an update this week where there's a company called Mytona FNtastic. Now, FNtastic is the developer of The Day Before.
Yeah.
They registered a trademark, which would indicate that they have decided to rename the game, something that they should have done before.
Yeah.
And so they filed a trademark for computer game software under the term Day World. So you got The Day Before, then you got Day World, then you got Dayman, Fighter of the Nightman, Champion of the Sun.
Their sequel's Night World, yeah.
Now, there is a series of fantasy books by somebody named Philip Jose Farmer. Three books and a prequel that are all Day World. They are the Day World series. So, like, I don't know what you thought. I have no other news besides those two facts. Okay, like, I have those two facts, and you guys can come to your own conclusions. But like, what, God, come on,
just Google the name.
Type it in.
Every time you come up with something, you just Google the name.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
Yep.
Oh my God.
The implication here is that this Mytona FNtastic, there's actually a publisher called Mytona that is specifically like a dealing with the legal rights to stuff entity, right? So it's thought that this is going to be an entity that's going to be doing nothing but like taking care of this. However, just make up something else, man.
Jesus Christ.
Just make up something else.
Come up with a list of things.
Call it the Legend of the Bone Burglar, Daystar, Volume 2.
Call it Glorbo. I don't know. Something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, get on that Glorbo train. Be like, okay, we're naming it Glorbo.
Glorbo World.
Glorbo World.
Fuck it. The bad guy's name's Glorbo.
The Glorbo before. The
Jesus.
Day Glorbo.
The Day of the Glorbo.
Day of the Glorbo. There you go. We did it for you.
Fuck me, man.
Fantastic.
Can't. Google, man.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yep.
The myth, because I was I was listening to one of the old It's Always Sunny podcasts where they talk about Mythic Quest.
Uh-huh.
They're like, yeah, we had like 12 or 20 different names that we had to like submit and then find out if any of them were like plausible.
Right.
And these guys probably didn't even do that. This was probably the second name they came up with, and they're like, that's a great idea, Dayworld. No one's going to think of using that super generic name.
Yep.
No, they did.
They did.
And you're an idiot.
Yep.
You didn't Google for 5 seconds.
Don't Google it. Google it. This is a boring story. I don't know. Basically, Sonic, the developers on Sonic have come out and said that they want to, going forward, they want to maintain like having a 3D game and having a 2D game, right? So they got the new 2D Sonic that's coming out, and they got the 3D Sonic game that you and I don't like, as well as all people with good taste.
What? We don't like a Sonic game, Jeff.
But when they were asked about like whether they would go back to a pixel art style, they basically said, like, no, we don't think we're going to do that. They want to stick with the kind of 2D hand-drawn sprites the way that the new game looks.
Yeah.
Because, and let's just be clear here, I don't know if anybody needs me to tell them this, but, like, pixel art retro is, like, going to go away because the old people that find that, like, as a charming throwback look are aging out of, like, the sector of the population you want to sell video games to. You want to sell Sonic games to young people, and young people don't look at pixel art and go, oh, right, just like the Game Boy, because they don't fucking have a Game Boy.
They also don't look at them and think this is a brand new game.
Right.
They look at them and they think, oh, this is a retro, especially with games that are especially with properties that were designed that way.
Yeah.
So when you look at a retro Super Mario look or a retro Sonic game, your thought process isn't this is the brand new game. Your thought process is this game was made 20 years ago,
right?
So I don't need to touch it.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're probably not going to see a return to that pixel art style. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, this is Sonic, right? So then they could make like 3 games that all flop, and then they're like, oh, we made it what looks like the Genesis. Will you nerds buy this? And they're like, yeah.
Well, like Sonic Mania worked because it was like a remix of all those, basically.
Yeah.
And so that worked out for a lot of it. And it was made with love. The problem is if you do that just for the money, it doesn't work out so well.
Yep. In other throwback news, I don't know if you saw this, but
I did. I read this immediately.
Yeah, I'm sure you just look at the titles of all the news I sent you, and you only pick the ones that seem interesting.
That was the first one I read immediately. So I was excited.
All right, Capcom Town, the Capcom 40th anniversary website has been doing a bunch of stuff. They had a poll recently that was like, which attorney would you like to defend you? And it was fucking Phoenix Wright, the Nandor guy from the Sherlock Holmes one that is Nando guy.
Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto.
Naruto.
Apollo Justice and Miles Edgeworth. I'm sorry. It may seem like, I don't know, racist that I'm not saying the Japanese guy's name.
Look, we didn't memorize his name.
Yeah.
There's a reason they localized everybody else's name.
Ryanosuke Naruhodo. There you go. Nandor Hodor. And what was strange was that they got back the results. I don't know if you actually watched this little thing.
I didn't watch the thing.
So, like, it turns out that in America likes Apollo Justice.
Because of his magic shit.
Yeah. Japan and others like Phoenix Wright and Miles Edgeworth. Canada really likes Ryanosuke. So they had a little thing where they had the characters come out. This is a really cute little video where they kind of come out and they talk about the results. But when they tallied everything up, it turns out that Miles Edgeworth edged out the competition, as it were, and came out 1 point, like not even like a 0.2% ahead of Phoenix Wright.
Okay. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal about Phoenix. Phoenix will bluff his way through stuff, which is very easy to be like, hey, he's just making up shit. And so you could probably legally get that shit thrown out.
Yep.
Edgeworth is so like, this shit is so fucking like admissible that you would have a hard time disproving that it's not real.
Yes.
So that dude is the kind of guy that I would like on my like in real life. He's the guy I would actually want.
Yeah.
Because Phoenix Wright would come in and you'd be like, "How am I going to get out of this?" And he's like, "It's okay, dude. I know this dog that was there." And you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "I'm gonna fucking cross-examine the dog. It's gonna be great, bro. It's gonna be fantastic."
So, but as part of this, that website had a whole lot of information about the Ace Attorney Investigations.
Yes.
Which was the Edgeworth game that was on the DS, and there was a sequel that only came out in Japan but has been fan translated.
I actually did download that and I did try it.
Yeah.
The problem was the hacked DS I had kept failing.
Yes.
So I didn't have a way to play the rest of it.
Apparently, there was a third investigation series that was like a stage play where all ladies played all the parts.
Yeah, I did not know that was the thing.
They had like a poster for it.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the thing until I read this, by the way. And I want to watch it, but there's no way because it's all in Japanese.
But this is a good sign because it means that Capcom remembers that these games exist, and because they're just about to put out the original Phoenix Wright, they put out the Herlock Sholmes, Nandor, Hodor games, and then they're putting out the Apollo Justice ones, and the only thing that's left are these,
which I would love, because the second one, what was crazy about the second one is one of the reasons people think it had a hard time is it has this weird like chess mini game type thing in it.
Yeah.
So they probably had a hard time even thinking about localizing it.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the fan localization is they hired people to do voices for people who didn't have a voice in America.
Right.
So they hired people to do the objections for his dad, for Miles Edgeworth's dad, and like characters that were only in that game. And it has a really interesting story that I wish, came out here, because it was about Edgeworth. Basically, he gets like suspended from being a prosecutor, and a friend of his dad's is like, "Here's a defense attorney badge," and so he's now like trying to see what his life would be like as if he was a defense attorney, like he originally wanted to be.
Is this a video game or just a full stage play?
Apparently, the third one is a full stage play.
It's a bold move, Cotton. That they're just like
bold move.
Video game, stage play.
It explains why we never got anything like that here. But
Mario Hamilton.
If somebody translates that whole thing, I'll watch it.
It's like 2 hours long.
Is there like an English caption for it?
Auto translate, auto generated. Subtitles,
it's
auto translate, English. You could probably watch.
Yeah, there's English right there.
English. So you could watch auto generated. Is it going to work? I don't think it's going to work.
Oh, he hasn't said anything yet because there's like a pause there.
Okay.
Well, if it just says if.
Well, no, okay. Well, there it goes. Man. We found out. Well,
the problem is I don't know what the headman means. So,
well, we haven't. It's auto translated, and we're like halfway through a scene, and it's struggling. Apparently,
yeah.
I bet you if you look online, you could find an SRT of somebody that did a fan translate. People are crazy on the internet, man.
Well, that's the thing. I was hoping somebody on YouTube would have done it for me.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that video would have done it for me, because I actually totally would have loved to watch that. Because I love the Ace Attorney movie.
Yeah.
And then I would totally watch that.
Oh, shit. Okay, now we're behind the times. Right. Okay, here we go. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Remember that game?
I do, actually.
It's kind of interesting. A group of modders have been working on trying to put co-op and ray tracing into the game.
Ooh.
But they ran into a little bit of a sticking problem, because in order to actually get full-on multiplayer in the game, they would have had to get into the source code and start sharing it between people, and that's like against
that's a no-no.
terms of service.
Yeah.
So apparently they emailed Ubisoft, who is like the rights holder for that, and apparently Ubisoft was like, do whatever. Like, they just gave them their blessing to just be like, we don't care about Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. You can do whatever you want. We do not care.
That's amazing.
So they got the full sign off from them to do whatever they felt like. So they're going to try to build a full modding SDK for this 20-year-old video game and add in that stuff.
You know what, Ubisoft? That was really cool of you.
I think it was. I don't think they were trying to be cool. I think they were just like, who? What?
Yeah.
No. Fucking get out of my office. I don't care. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, but there's so many of of them where they'll ask that and they'll be like, no, fuck no.
Right.
I'll believe you get your ass kicked for saying some shit like that.
Boy. Okay, so we have a shitload of trailers. We're going to have to go over some of this stuff really, really cursorily. TennoCon was last week.
What does that mean?
That's the Warframe convention.
Okay. I didn't know they had a convention for that.
They do.
Good for them.
One of the things that they showed was, you remember they announced Soulframe last year?
Yeah.
Had the big deer and everything was weird.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They showed off a trailer for it, but they also had a 30-minute like gameplay walkthrough presentation. I made it about 20 minutes through. I can say that, one, it was full of proper nouns, which I do not know because this game doesn't even exist yet.
Oh, okay.
The action looked a lot like Warframe meets like a Souls game kind of thing. It's a third-person action game. It's got some pretty interesting art styles. Lots of weird guys. They had a really interesting... You know, in Warframe, you have a ship. You have a ship that you can go back to that you can you got like a dog. You can decorate. Here, you've got like a tent in like the Silver Sea, like a pocket dimension. And apparently over the course of the game, you'll like rescue spirits and bring them back there until you have a full village kind of in this place. So it's kind of cool. It looks like a third-person action game. It looks a lot like Warframe, except with less like flipping and jumping and flipping.
Yeah.
I recommend anybody that's interested to go watch this 30-minute preview. There's a point in some of these walkthroughs where I don't care anymore. I made about 25 minutes in here before I was about to fall asleep, so I had to stop. But it's got a lot of interesting art. It's got a lot of interesting characters. It's got some big kind of like boss fighty stuff. It looks like it's got some of that story. I mean, because Warframe has like a big ass story.
It does.
So
I have a friend who was very adamant that Warframe was the best free to play thing out there.
Yes. So yeah, go check it out. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. But this developer is a good developer, right?
Yeah. They haven't failed them yet so far.
They tend to make pretty good stuff. So, yeah, there's like a big boss fight at the end. I don't know. Looks cool. There's a slightly higher resolution version on their website than what we're looking at here, but they also had their big Warframe thing. So there were two parts to this. One was there's apparently there's a character in Warframe that's been referenced a whole bunch called like the Watcher in the Walls or something like that.
Okay.
Is this not the one? Demons, Necromark, Tenno, Necromark. Anyway, they show this character in this. They have like a 30-minute walkthrough or like a 20-minute walkthrough of this where they show this character and a lot of this kind of old-looking tech. There's all this Warframe ass shit. This is what we're looking at right now. But you'll see there's parts where the guy has like an older looking computer.
Yeah, holy shit, that's like super old considering.
Like a CRT monitor with floppy disk drives in the front. At one point he pulls out what looks like a Palm Pilot. Even his outfit looks like he's wearing something like he's got like just a hat on.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what was going on in here. Again, I kind of got tired of watching this because a lot of it was like referencing stuff I didn't entirely understand.
Is he a vampire? He just got into a coffin.
He gets into a coffin with his big cat. The big cat gets in there too. The big cat gets into the big hairless cat gets into the coffin. It reminds me of what's that space comic that has the cat?
Yeah, I was about to say it reminds me of that cat from Saga.
Saga, yeah.
The one that just we'll just say lying if you're lying.
Right.
Lying.
And so then they show some actual Warframe of this person going into this area. And eventually they get to the area where the coffin is, where because there's like a giant head in the background.
Okay.
There's a giant white head that you'll see in the background there.
Oh yeah.
And at some point the Tenno turns on the computer and gets this weird effect, and then they show this expansion called Warframe 1999, which is like a flashback to 1999 when all this Tenno stuff was starting with that same character, the guy with the hat and everything, and it shows a character that is kind of got what looks like somewhere between the the Warframe suit and like a wetsuit, like a tactical Metal Gear suit.
He reminds me of the bad guy from Revengeance, the way he looks.
Oh, I can see that with Jetstream Sam.
Jetstream Sam.
Yeah. I was like, Senator Armstrong.
No, not that one. The other one, the samurai one.
Yeah. And what's funny is what you don't know is that during this they're playing that Nine Inch Nails song that like I tried to get my heart, but my heart keep slipping away or whatever that
I
one.
don't remember the name of it. I didn't know a lot about those songs.
It's from The Fragile, which came out in 1999. I looked it up.
That's real fun.
And so it's like a prequel throwback where when you look at it, it looks like Warframe, but without as much of the like flipping. And then he's like, there's a point where he's on a comms with somebody and he's fighting these like weird TV monsters. They're like made out of TVs or somehow.
That's interesting.
And he's like in a mall, like it's like an actual world and not like the weird bio world of Warframe. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, this is an expansion that's going to be coming out at some point. There's some other stuff about certain Warframes. I'm just glossing over all this stuff because I don't know enough about Warframe to talk about it. I played it. It's fun.
It's the kind of thing that makes me like. They're the sort of announcements that are good. A good way of showing why people are so hyped about this series.
Yeah. So yeah, go check it out. There's like 2 full 30-minute videos with a lot of. They're showing off a lot of stuff, right? So yeah. That's the trailer for that. We got an 9-minute long gameplay walkthrough for Space Marine 2. I got to be honest, this one also I got a little bit bored of just because, it was like Space Marine, right? So you were like
there's
like ripping dudes apart and killing gene stealers. I do like though that they have a few parts where they show how big the Space Marines are when they're just around like normal people.
Yeah, it's a good reminder is that these guys are fucking gigantic.
Yeah. It looks like it's very reminiscent to me of like World War Z because it's like they're not fighting like Chaos Marines, they're fighting these swarms of gene stealers this time. So it's like really violent and gory and there's blood and shit going everywhere and I love it. I think it looks great.
I'm always surprised that this sort of game isn't the thing they kept making. Like they only made the first one and then nothing for a while.
And then it's all like weird strategy games.
Yeah, these tactical RPG type things. And you're like, man, you have this whole violent ass world that you think you could just keep doing stuff like this with it, and you decide against it.
Do you think that the people that play video games do not want to stick a chainsaw sword into a bad guy and then watch him explode into blood? Because I think I speak for all of us when I say, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Except every time we said yes, you're like, but what if it was an RPG? And you're like, stop it.
Right.
Finally, they were like, oh, what about this game and Bolt Gun? I'm like, finally, you guys are listening to me.
Yeah. I think this looks great. Like, I really can't wait to play this. I think it looks really fun.
It looks fantastic. The first one was very popular when it came out. That's why I was always surprised they didn't make another one for a while.
I've been so close a bunch of times to doing a full sequential of Space Marine because I really just adored that game when I played it. And because it's on the PC, you can get you can set it to dumbass resolutions and make it look really nice. So, we just got done saying all that, Michael, but we also got a trailer for the Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader game. This is one showing off companions. This is a tactical RPG where you play as like a spaceship captain that assembles a motley crew of weirdos. And so they're showing off said weirdos. They show like there's like a sister, like a battle sister, and like an ex-space marine, and like unlicensed psychers, and like Adeptus Mechanicus guys. And I don't know. I like this because it looks like it's like kind of like privateer or like freelancer or
I can see that.
Star Citizen or something like that. Except it's like XCOM on top of that with your guys. I also think
these make more sense as those sorts of RPGs because they're such a diverse group of characters.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, I'm slightly heartened by the fact that whenever they show the intro to a new character, Michael, I don't know if you saw this, but it literally shows their romantic preference at the bottom, which indicates that there's going to be some hooking up with all the little weirdos in your squad. I don't know. I think this game looks good. Yeah, except grosser. So So that happened.
Looks great.
We got 2 Armored Core 6 live-action trailers. They couldn't be more different. Michael?
I saw this first one that we're looking at.
One of them is Mechless Mutual with Rainn Wilson, where he's like an insurance guy that has to tell people that their damage isn't covered because it's mech related, and he keeps getting more and more
absurd,
more frustrated and harried as everybody talks about it. It's pretty funny. The second one, I don't know if you saw the other one.
I didn't see the second one.
Carl Urban. It's one of those trailers where you just got a celebrity that just looks at the camera and tells you what you're going to be doing in the game, where it's just like, listen up, mercenary, you got to go to Rubicon and fight the guys. It's just, I'm Carl Urban in a black shirt and like the vest of some sort.
He's wearing like a tactical outfit, and it's very strange.
We're going to keep cutting in. What the funny thing for me is that what they keep cutting to footage of was like one of the 2 cinematic trailers for the game. It's not even the game. It's like the cinematics that they put out before. I
feel like he asked to do this, to be honest. Carl Urban is a giant fucking nerd, and people seem to forget that. Like, there's that image of him and Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
In Japan, just buying a fuck ton of Gunpla.
That's very true. Could be. Let's see. We got another Mortal Kombat trailer. I thought this was pretty fun.
This was a fun one
because this was a reference to an old Mortal Kombat trailer when Mortal Kombat was getting ready to come out on consoles, and it was coming out on Mortal Monday. And they had this trailer. Do you remember the original trailer?
Vaguely.
Oh, here I have it. I'll pull it up. Because it was like just in the streets, basically, and the original classic trailer. And so
I remember this one.
It had this like little redhead kid screaming like Mortal Kombat, and then everybody starts coming out and screaming Mortal Kombat. It's the most 90s trailer I've ever seen.
It's super 90s.
But actually, when you hear the guy screaming Mortal Kombat in the song, like that's the same guy that's screaming it in this trailer.
Oh, okay.
I like the fact that in this Dave Bautista trailer that they have a remix of the Mortal Kombat techno song in the background, and he's just screaming Mortal Kombat at people, and then they scream Mortal Kombat, and then everybody's screaming Mortal Kombat, and they're going down the street, and everybody's screaming Mortal Kombat, and then there's a bunch of talking about how like, yeah, you know who we are. We're like the ones who know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. What I do appreciate, though, is there's a quick part where they show the redheaded kid from the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
I didn't realize that.
They this lady in the coffee shop just screaming Mortal Kombat and then running outside. I like this guy with his baby who stands up and screams Mortal Kombat, and like he just leaves his baby behind. Apparently, like he's just like, "Fuck my baby, I'm out of here."
He's worried it's a babality.
This lady in a pottery class, she's gonna go play Mortal Kombat. Dave Bautista gets real dirty for some reason
because he's murdered a bunch of guys.
This is the redheaded kid from the original.
That's really
just
cool.
Like looking directly into the camera, like, "Yeah, you know who I am."
Just ask you to test your might, man.
And then there's a bunch of people on a bridge. Dave Bautista's yelling Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, yep, I agree.
It is a very exciting time, guys.
I don't know why he's so dirty, though.
Because he just finished murdering a bunch of people on his way there.
So
he's got to prove himself.
Yeah. He's got to test his might.
He's another guy that I bet was like, I want to be in a Mortal Kombat trailer.
Right.
And they're just like,
he's like, who do I talk to about this? Just goes to NetherRealm on a weekend, and he's like, who can I talk to about being in a Mortal Kombat commercial? Can I be the guy that screams Mortal Kombat this time around?
Like, yes, please.
Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 showed off El Tigre.
Yeah, that's actually kind of exciting.
Is going to be in it. I had to look up. I was trying to like look up. Okay, well, what show is El Tigre from?
It's from El Tigre.
El Tigre. That's a show. I didn't.
Yeah, it was a show that started after kind of when I stopped watching a lot of those cartoons at that point.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it's a cartoon I would have loved if it came out when I was a kid.
Yeah, because it's like a luchador kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a luchador type story and about like a bunch of kids that are like luchador type superheroes, but they also live in a world like full of luchadors. And this specific guy, he's come up with a lot of different stuff like that. Like he helped make Book of Life.
Oh, okay.
Was the other thing that he made. But yeah, it's very unapologetically Mexican. So it is kind of exciting that they remembered he existed.
Cool.
Kind of thing. So yeah, he still draws stuff all the time now. I saw him. I found out because when it got announced that he was coming out, the trailer hadn't come out yet. He had come out with this art on Twitter, and somebody's like, "Hey, anyone ever tell you that you look like your art looks like LT Gray?" And he's like, "I certainly hope so."
We got the full launch trailer for the Alien expansion for Dead by Daylight. I looked it up on their website, Michael. That's supposed to be Ellen Ripley.
See, yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's supposed to be Ellen Ripley.
So this is a perfect example of stunt double-itist.
Right. Also, they have like some different alien skins. They've got the Xenomorph Queen, and then it's like they've got another weird one where technically it's supposed to be from like Alien Resurrection, and it's like the not fully formed. Well, they've got a Ripley outfit from Alien Resurrection, which is weird, where she got that weird orange brown vest. But then they've got this alien skin where it's like
the clone one,
the
right?
Clone, but it's not the. But it's like white, but it's not the weird one with the person face.
Yeah, I was about to say,
like, because that one's too big, right? That one's bigger than a normal alien.
Because isn't that what the clone one looks like? The one that we're thinking of?
No,
not that one, but the giant one that we're thinking of. Because that one, that's not in the movie, as far as I know.
No, I don't. I've seen Alien Resurrection. I like Alien Resurrection. That's not in that movie.
I only saw it once, so I don't remember it very well.
No, that's not in that movie. That's something different.
The alien with a person face.
But yeah, it's really weird to be like, we got the stunt double Ellen Ripley.
But it's nice to see that she's got 3 different outfits. It's like her aliens outfit,
and she can set up the little turret.
Oh, that's fun.
From Aliens. So,
it's a shame that they definitely didn't have the money to ask for Sigourney Weaver's likeness.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten closer though. I think
but they probably got worried. So yeah, it is just kind of funny. Yeah.
Speaking of movie stuff, we got an actual gameplay teaser for Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I forgot this was happening.
Where they actually show. I didn't realize that the human side was going to be able to fight back. That they've got like guns and stuff.
I did not know that either.
Shoot at people because they show a little bit of clowns fucking people up. But they also show a little bit of the human characters fighting back. It seems like the sort of thing where if like the human characters can gang up on one of the clowns, they can like make some progress.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is from Ilphonic.
Yeah, they're the same guys who did the Ghostbusters one.
Yeah.
Because I want to say they're in town. I can't remember.
I don't know. But I don't know, Michael. You'll have to tell the people at home if this lives up to the wonder of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because I've never seen that movie. So
it's got some of the fun stuff going on in it. But the thing is that movie is batshit insane that it's hard to really nail that into a game.
Yeah.
Like it's got stuff that's in the movie, but it's like making that the actual game in general I think is really weird.
All right.
I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to, because I've only seen it once. Brian would have a better chance of explaining it than I would.
Maybe I will get him to come play this. So, we're gonna skip some of these. Grime 2 got announced.
Really?
I didn't realize this. The first Grime was very
grimy,
well received.
his friends call it.
Was very, very, very well received, even though for a long time it was like a PC only game.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 2D kind of very abstract, and it had some difficult, like Soulsy kind of mechanical stuff going on in it. The second one looks like it's got some equally funky, weird, grimy, slurpy weirdos in it.
Yeah.
So
it lives up to its name.
Yep. And it's definitely, the nice thing is it's like it reminds me a little bit of Scorn, except that this is like a 2D action game, so you actually do stuff in it.
Yeah, I can see that. It looks interesting. I can't say it looks fun because it's just it's a character action, a side scroller thing.
Yeah,
and that could go either way depending on how it feels.
Yeah, but hey, well, we got a new Blasphemous, now we got a new Grime on the way, so
that's fun.
Yep. Let's see. This was very weird. So this was a game called Quomp 2. Atari is putting this out, and they are marketing it like, what happens to the ball once it leaves the Pong screen? Don't you want to know the weird, crazy story of what happens to this ball when it leaves the Pong screen? But you might have noticed that Quomp is not Pong.
No, yeah.
And this is called Quomp 2. So was there a Quamp 1? Yes, there was a Quamp 1.
Really?
It was made by this studio, and it was this weird thing. You can see the gameplay is like you have 2 buttons to basically just change the direction of like a ball, like from Pong, but you're just changing directions, and then it's like a kind of an obstacle course slash kind of action game where you're avoiding like spikes and traps and stuff, and then you're bouncing kind of through various places. But it's so weird because it's literally not Pong, but Atari is publishing it, and this trailer is like very set up to be like, remember Pong?
Yeah, straight up.
Even though it's not Pong, it's Quamp, which is just Pong sort of rearranged.
Yeah, that's just weird. It's interesting.
It looks like an interesting game, but it
kind of reminds me of Super Meat Boy in a lot of ways.
I could see that,
but like, toned down, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah,
what a weird fucking idea.
Strange thing.
Sure, I guess.
You remember that game Noor?
Vaguely.
That was announced on the PS5 where it's just a bunch of food.
Oh, yeah.
Like copy-pasted food.
Or you just fuck around with it?
Just, yeah. Like, I don't even know if it's really a game so much as it is just like a fuck a bunch of shit up simulator.
This could be fun.
It got a release date.
Oh.
Which, like, it was literally, I believe this was one of the announcements on the original PlayStation 5 stream.
Yeah. That's why I forgot about it.
Yeah. I was actually asking about it a few weeks back. Like, where the fuck did this go?
It's just making me hungry.
It's coming out in September 12th.
Oh, that's a lot sooner than I expected.
Yeah. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I already put it on the schedule.
Look out, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Let's skip this one. Jagged Alliance 3 is coming to consoles.
Oh, okay.
They put out a whole trailer where they basically do a lot of showing what Jagged Alliance is, and then at the end say, coming at some point, no definite date.
Well, that could be fun.
Yep. And then the Front Mission 2 remake got a release date for the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Because the first one came out, but the second one never came out. October 5th of this year, Front Mission 2. I don't know why. Again, it's like I was complaining before about like, hey, don't tell me anything about your game until it's almost out. But like a lot of these things are just, we haven't had release dates for games that are like 6 years old, and they're like, and it's next month. And it's like, oh, okay.
It's very strange, but sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. You get to jump on that mech train that's going on right now.
It's a good time to be a mech game.
Yep.
I'm a mech game fan.
Well, speaking of mechs, you remember that trailer we had for? There was a trailer last week that we had for RoboCop.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh, Lewis is in it. So here's the thing, Michael. I don't know if I was watching this on the wrong channel, but if you look at the bottom of this trailer, it says in the description, and this just proves that I shouldn't spend my time writing descriptions because nobody reads them. Only RoboCop can clean up crime-ridden streets of old Detroit. Follow the part man, part machine, and gameplay trailer, blah, blah, blah. Reinforcements arrive November 2nd, 2023, which was like we had a release date of October.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a release date for a while in general.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point they just said September.
But I believe it's been delayed. Like it's been delayed.
No, it's absolutely been delayed. Because even their site think it still said September for a while.
I mean, Steam says November 2nd now, but up until very recently.
Yeah.
So
because that was the thing. Because even because I kept looking for it because I'm like, when is this supposed to come out? I would Google it. And it would be like, it says September. And then I would look at my Amazon pre-order and it would be like October 3rd.
Right.
And then I was like, I don't know when this is supposed to happen.
Yeah. So, well, November. I'm here with an answer. November.
I'm very excited. I'm still very excited. But I read something that mentioned why I got, because I think that's how I found out was they put a Twitter post out.
Yeah.
They're like, we're working, because they had like a beta or something.
Okay.
In like June or something like that. They're like, yeah, based on the feedback we got on that, we're going to push it back, is what it said.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to see how it turns out.
There you go. Stalker 2 has been pushed out of 2023 to an official 2024 release.
Okay.
Q1 2024. There is nothing. There is no amount of delaying that Stalker 2 could do that I would be dissatisfied with, considering those guys literally had to flee from Ukraine.
They literally, some of them are literally fighting even now, I think.
Yes.
Even if it does, like, honestly, if it doesn't come out, I still wouldn't be upset about it because, this is not something that you can just be like, this just got pushed back because they need a polish.
Oh, what a bunch of whiners! Oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting killed.
Oh, jeez, it was dark.
Yeah, it was. Phasmophobia was delayed. The console release of Phasmophobia was delayed a little bit due to, quote unquote, a fire incident.
What the fuck?
I don't know what that means. It said a recent fire incident in our office building and unpredicted development issues. So the ability to test and develop has been significantly impacted. The game is being pushed back to basically right before Halloween.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
there's probably something set on fire and it must have caused a sprinkler to turn on somewhere.
Yeah, maybe ruined some test machines or something like that.
That's the best. It would explain why their development, would be pulled back. Because if there was just a fire and it hadn't affect any of their stuff, then there wouldn't have been needed for delay.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Let's see. Scorn has a release date in October on the PS5 as well.
For some reason, I kept thinking it was out already.
Yeah, me too. But I thought I'd just say that. So I don't know. I don't know exactly when. October 3rd. So
that's nice.
It's good that there's a lot of spooky stuff happening in October this year.
Yeah, October is legitimately getting some good stuff coming out this time.
Yeah.
Because last year everything kept coming out way after,
right?
Which was really weird.
Yeah. What was the horror game that came out in November?
Dead Space came out in was one of them, if I remember.
There's another one. It was an indie or something smaller that I was like, oh, this desperately wanted to come out in October, but
I remember us talking about it because we were like, man, all of the horror games came out after October.
Right.
It was such a weird thing, and I was just bummed by that because I was like, there's nothing really cool to play that was spooky in the middle of October.
Oh, I can't. It would take too much time to find that out here. We'll have to come up with it later.
I'm sure we'll remember eventually.
That Lord of the Rings Mines of Moria game is also coming out in October.
Okay.
Got a release date. So blah, 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 blah. October 24th for the PC. And then PS5 and PS5, Xbox Series X and S, early 2024.
Oh, yeah. So it'll be digital. And then they said there's going to be a physical release in December. That seems to be happening more often lately.
Digital first, then physical.
Yeah, which is interesting, especially with because it wasn't really because movies were doing it for a while, but then all of a sudden started noticing games were doing it more often.
Yeah, well, they can delay all of the actual physical production for a little while and just be like, hey, do you want to play this game really bad? Well, then you buy it digital, and I'm sure that there are a certain number of people that buy it twice. So
yeah, I didn't do that with Metroid Prime. I considered it.
Let's see. Well, speaking of physical media, what do you think about? Did you see the Street Fighter 2, the animated movie 4K HDR Blu-ray new transfer that's coming out?
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
a lot of those anime movies were ways that some people got into these stories.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool. I might actually try to get that.
Yeah. Apparently, this is a new transfer, and it's up for pre-order right now. Also up for, not quite yet, but also something else coming interesting in October. Playdate? No, Analog Pocket, not Playdate. The Analog Pocket, that thing that plays all the old Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, all that stuff. They're putting out a limited edition glow-in-the-dark one that's got that sick green. It's like you put it in, it's the old school. You put it in the sun, and then when the lights go out, it's it glows in the dark.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they're putting out a special limited edition called the Pocket Glow, $250 starting September 1st for pre-order. And also, they've gotten their shipping fixed. So apparently they're supposed to be finishing all of any existing pre-orders should be fulfilled at this point.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Let's see. This is pretty cool. This company making a custom dock that looks like an old Super Nintendo.
Oh.
So that when you take the top of it off, you can dock a Steam Deck, an ROG Ally, or even if you want to turn it upside down, a Switch, because the Switch has a USB-C port on the top of it. It's just got a C port on it, which is pretty fun. Let me make sure I say who this is from. It's from Gulikit, Gulikit.
This is my favorite thing about the internet is that people are really creative and you can get access to these things.
Yeah. And it's got like, it's not just like a 3D printed piece of plastic. It's also got, maybe 3D printed, but it's also got like HDMI out and the USB-C and network and all the normal stuff. So, yep.
They put their all into it.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. Did you see these controllers, Michael?
I did. I saw this on Twitter.
Yeah. So what is this? PDP has put out these things. They're called Realms controllers, RealMZ. It's funny. I had to take apart my Xbox controller because the fire button was sticking after I played Armored Core 6, and I was hitting it so much that it was just like it would take like a third of a second before it popped back out, and I'm like, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. But when I did that, what I learned was like, did you guys know that most of what's in the handle part you hold on to in a controller is blank space? And so they've made these see-through controllers that literally have like 3D, like a little Sonic in there. Yeah. And then like they've got a little kind of diorama over the back. So it kind of makes an interesting little tableau inside of the controller in this clear controller. It's kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, the empty space in those handles was always kind of like, it was always funny to me when I discovered that was a thing for a lot of the newer controllers, because some of them still have a lot of stuff in there, but most of them don't. Like, you can tell when you're like really like when you move it around, because you can tell where the weight is.
Yep.
And yeah,
it's all in the middle. Let's see. Armored Core 6 is out, so now we're going to talk about Armored Core 6 mods.
It took them like a day for this one.
Yeah. They modded CJ into Armored Core, and I know what you're thinking, like, where? There aren't any human characters. Oh, no. They made him the mech.
Yeah.
They made him the mech in Armored Core 6. Watching this is very strange because the last time I think we talked about CJ was when they made him one of the cats in Stray.
Yeah.
And he was just little
super weird.
Giant CJ rocketing around, shooting people is pretty awesome.
I don't know why CJ specifically is the one that gets modded into everything, but keep going. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. Don't stop now. Come on. This is crazy. Let's see. And then also in case... Oh, yeah, we talked about that one before. I was going to say we had the story about the guy that beat Armored Core with his fists, but after reading it, it was like, he was like, so don't do it. It's no fun. Don't do it. Y'all should all go to the Armored Core subreddit and check out some of the weird shit that people are doing. The decal and like customization editor in that game is fucking berserk, and people are using it to incredibly good results. I sent Michael a Spider-Man 2099 mech the other day.
There's some really creative mechs out there, and we were going through them after we finished something we were doing.
Yeah,
and we saw like the Homer Simpson one.
Yep.
And I saw a Bobobo one. That's an anime thing.
My favorite one is. Did you see the one? I don't know if you've. Have you seen the Carl Havoc one?
No. Well, I heard about it, but I never saw
it. Here, wait. Actually, this should be pretty easy because Polygon had a good like wrap up that I sent to Matt. Let's see, Matt, because people have done a lot of good Gundam ones.
Yeah, I saw a few of the Gundam ones.
It's Evangelion. Obviously, this is a really good Shockwave.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the bike from Akira. Go Gaigar, Battleship Yamato.
I saw a lot of Megases, yeah.
This is like an N64. But no, this is the best. This is the Carl Havoc from I Think You Should Leave. I got too much shit on me, and it looks great. It looks so great.
I love the title. I can't sort it because there's too much shit on me.
There's too much fucking shit on me. I
love that.
The number of people making like Pickle Rick and Homer Simpson and fucking people are just like making crazy shit in here.
It's crazy, guys. The sheer amount of shit people, because the decals make it so easy to make some insane shit.
This is
I
the one.
Love it.
No, look at this one where somebody just made a bunch of like, they call them like greebles. So they're like little, they look like rivets or like parts or vents so that people can just take an existing mech and then like add to make it look like it's got more things, because the decals, if they're made well enough, just look like parts.
Yeah.
And so they can literally just add detail to a part. So go check out the Armored Core subreddit. It's kind of a cool place.
It's fantastic. I'm so glad that Armored Core is back.
Yep. Pretty good. And then last but not least, hey, I'm going to call it out every time it happens. Fucking Eli Handel B has a new video. This one's actually a couple weeks old.
This one's pretty fun.
With Ron Swanson is in Half-Life 2. Man, this guy is good.
He's really good. Have you seen his newest one?
Was that the one with the Ted?
Yeah, Ted and Detroit
Become Human.
That one's a lot of fun too.
I've never seen Ted, so I don't really get the reference as much. So
the Ron Swanson one is really fucking good though.
Yeah. Because it's basically all of the Ron Swanson hates Europe memes, but in City 17 or whatever it is, and it's pretty fun.
It's really funny.
Go check it out. You subscribe to that guy's channel. It's pretty good.
I've rewatched a bunch of them. Like they're so like my favorite one is another Detroit Detroit Human one.
Yeah,
which is the Naked Gun one. Because that one is just so well made.
Yeah,
like just stupidly well made.
I agree.
And the John Wick one's really good too.
Yeah, he's got so many. They're so good. I think I rewatched the Michael Scott Mass Effect one too.
I discovered him because of his Austin Powers Mass Effect one.
Yeah,
from years and years ago, or not years. It wasn't that long ago, but it was a while back.
Yep, and that is that's our podcast. So we did end up going overtime at the end of the day. But, hey, Starfield is out. So, Michael, tell them where they can find you because you got to get the hell out of my house so I can play Starfield.
Oh, shit, is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Yeah, you can find me at oneofus.net. I do a lot of movie television reviews there. I don't remember. I think my last review was Gran Turismo. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's they can add to the gaming stuff to it.
There you go. So, what? Too early? You can go fuck yourself.
I thought it was
too early.
The first or whatever.
No, it's not. It's I literally looked it up. It's 7. It's supposed to be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wait, hold on.
Central.
Ready to use. Anyway, all right, we'll go finish. We'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. It literally, the app is supposed to have a countdown. Anyway, this is not worth listening to. Nobody listen. Except listen and maybe go to patreon.com/Frank Slade. Okay, bye.